to choose when they want to use it.
And we've seen the effectiveness of that here today already, and I believe we'll continue to as we can see that Dash IO is the most represented hero and Dash IE less so, but putting up certainly a fight against this Victor.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely not the kind of start you want to see from Victor. Just attacking with Cranial Crush ends up being a 3-card 8. Dash isn't going to, actually usually isn't going to draw any cards anyways. There actually is a high octane in Isaac's hand, which is being denied the draw effect, the most powerful part of the card, because of that crush effect right now.
That's right, Rhea. We're not going to be able to draw a card off the high octane, and at this point, without a counter on the pistol.
Oh, here we go with a trounce.
Oh, and we see
maximum velocity winning the trounce.
That's amazing.
Oh.
Maybe that was our first one as well. This could be our second max velocity, but I mean, if you're a Victor player here, that is not what you want to see.
I think we're reaching for the Aura Magus, yeah, to fix the fight, as Victor is so apt to do.
I think you have to, Rhea. I mean, what are the odds of hitting another maximum velocity off the top? And do you really want to let Dash have that in her hand?
I think they've passed on it.
Okay.
Okay. So one clash win to either player. No one gets the tokens from the trounce. Just ends up being a very fancy block 3 card. But sometimes, you know, blocking 3 is exactly what you need when you're a Guardian and your opponent is boosting.
That's right, and we did get another Teklo core out of the way, so we have 2 in Banish already. Now that might be, I believe we pitched one earlier, so we might be out of Teklo cores for the time being. We're looking to pitch the high octane here since that draw is denied.
Yeah. Pulse Wave Harpoon going to force Jesse to block at least a little bit here and show the last 2 cards in hand. Yep, there it is, boosted. They are both blue thunks, so a bit of repetitiveness here in this hand, maybe.
Yeah, and interestingly, blocking with the gold main estate on a turn where Tunic is active.
Well, there is exactly 1 gold right now that's available to Victor, so gold main estate would just be spending your card to make a gold without reaching that critical 3 threshold.
That's right, Rhea, and that is why many players opt to use the Crown of Providence,
right?
And which is why we are seeing, the Crown of Dominion, and that is why we are seeing a balance of justice here. Instead, we're not going to be playing the Gold Main Estate. We are looking more to get an opportunity to draw a card.
I mean, it's Guardian. At the end of the day, blue block 3s, far from an embarrassing card.
Absolutely.
Got another Sprocket Rocket. Just, you know, 3-go again. This is really aggressive boosting from Isaac, I have to say. Victor only at 34, and we've already got several cards in the banished zone on Dash's side. Going to need to set up some of those maximum velocities later in the game to make sure to be able to overcome these defenses without getting fatigued.
Yeah, and you got to wonder at this point, pulling cards out of hand to get them on the combat chain.
Oh, is that Teklo Pounder gone?
There we go, is another opportunity to boost our cards. I shouldn't say boost when we're talking about mechanologists, but to pump our cards over to those critical hit points. And now we are seeing the Zealous Belting block and the Test of Strength. We don't want to end with that in Arsenal.
Is that a draw? No. Chokeslam red, 8 power. Okay, so Victor has won that clash. It's kind of interesting to give Dash the information, though, of knowing that the top card is a red throttle. Probably don't want to boost on the rest of this turn. Seems like closing the chain, going to have to reload pistol, and that requires breaking the chain, so non-attack action. Oh, Teklo Foundry Heart.
And hits a Spark of Genius. So we've hit Meganetic Shockwave and Spark of Genius off the top of deck this turn. We are churning through powerful cards. Teklo Pounder as well.
Right, it's always the danger of boosting that you don't know what you'll banish, and you can unintentionally or randomly remove some of your most powerful cards from your deck.
And I don't have a face cam here, Rhea, but I don't think Jesse's sweating too much yet.
You know, 32 life and Dash is getting close to halfway through the deck. I think you're probably right.
And just taking 5 on a maximum velocity.
So that is one maximum velocity down. That's exactly what you want to see in terms of how to get over this defense.
We know another one is at the bottom of the deck from
Right,
the trounce.
from the trounce that forced Isaac to bottom it.
We're just going to draw up and pass here. But as a Victor player, those are turns you can expect.
Right. I mean, when your opponent is boosting so aggressively, it's going to be quite often that you are full blocking on the turn cycle, because really this is going to become a matter of asking Isaac, look, can you overwhelm my ability to very consistently block 12 every turn cycle? It's what Guardian excels at.
And yet, if there's a hero that is able to do that, I trust it is Dash. We do have the opportunity still of Goliath Gauntlet at any point just to continue to add some pressure. And we have a T-Bone here, likely getting Balance of Justice.
Boosting another throttle away.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Giving the Civic Steps. So Civic Steps kind of a very dangerous equipment against any opponent that has a Technoplasma pistol. The Quicken token will give that weapon go again, and as long as Isaac has a spare resource, that go again can always be converted into another pistol shot. I think there's been a read here from Jesse that Isaac probably doesn't want to Techno Foundry Heart 2 cards out of deck just for one pistol shot, and Isaac probably wants to arsenal that last card. So kind of a safe situation here to give the Quicken and deny an arsenal. Oh, there was one more card in hand. Excuse me. So yeah. Getting converted into a pistol.
Absolutely, and I think that's a really heads-up play, Rhea, that Isaac is likely going to want to arsenal, and Jesse sees that because Jesse's got a Command and Conquer in hand.
Oh, perfect. I mean, that's exactly...
And a blue pitch, so this is exactly where Jesse wants Isaac to be.
Yeah, importantly, only 4 armor equipment available for Isaac. Of course, there is the Crown of Providence to save your arsenal from that first Command and Conquer, but it means drawing a random card off the top instead of setting up your power turn.
Oh, and we're just seeing the Titan's Fist. This is interesting.
So what this tells me as an outside viewer, of course, Isaac doesn't know this, I imagine Jesse's waiting to draw a Pummel. Tunic is up, and CNC with Pummel always much more dangerous than just a regular old Command and Conquer.
I would say it's the peanut butter and jelly of Flesh and Blood. There is no better combo. And
it's in the next hand.
That's fantastic. I'm sure Jesse is just loving his decision right here. May have second-guessed it for a moment, letting the Dash player come back with a full hand, but now...
Really rewarded.
Rewarded
for the patience and the foresight to wait for an even stronger turn in the future.
And now we're thinking here, and if I'm Jesse, I'm probably wanting to count how many times I've seen Pulse Wave Harpoon, because this could be a turn where overblocking could absolutely ruin that CNC Pummel.
Yeah. 0 to 60, going to be 4 power boosting, of course. Isaac has access to a 5-card hand. Funnily enough, the gold is gone. But the induction chamber and Technoplasma pistol ways to extend any clunky blues in the hand.
And we are seeing a
chain broken to activate Techno Foundry Heart. This might be another maximum velocity turn.
I think you're right here.
4 resources floating. You don't see that very often. Down to 2 to play twin drive. All right, well, this is where you can tell. That's a double boost. We all know what's coming next.
Absolutely. Especially when there's no high octane to back it up. That can really only mean one thing. And so we will see, do we go right into the maximum velocity or do we get a pistol shot?
I just realized, does Jesse have any blues in hand? There was a Zealous Belting, a Pummel, and a Spinal Crush, I think.
All we need is 1 blue and a Pummel, and we have the 4 resources with the Tunic available.
But I don't know that we're going to get there.
So we are seeing at least 1 Pulse Wave Harpoon. We want to know if he's counting for that or maximum velocity. And I think at this point, you might just have to say...
Well, we just saw the third Pulse Wave Harpoon banished. We've seen 2 played already, so that definitely is not the threat here. But when you have 2 red 2 blocks and no blues in hand, there's no good choices here.
It's in Light and Strike.
Yeah.
And this is really where, as a Victor player, I am regretting not having my Snapdragons, because you could draw a card.
Goliath Gauntlet, we all know what's coming next.
There we
It's
go.
maximum velocity for 12. Jesse has 1 card in hand that blocks 2.
Committing equipment here.
And then, yeah, blocking with that pummel that we were
Oh.
so excited to draw at the start of this turn.
Going all the way down to 15.
Well, I said that if Dash is boosting through deck, they need to find some powerful offensive turns fast. We certainly are starting to see them.
And a card in Arsenal as well, and the Victor player's just going to have to draw up. So if we can keep this pressure on, I think Dash is saying we're in a good situation, we're in a good spot, we can just load our gun and just spend our resources to give it go again. Keep a long chain going where you're not going to be able to block it all out.
Starting off with the classic pew pew for 2, as I think most mechanologist players say.
I think that is the technical term. A pew pew for 2, followed by, it looks like a yellow 0 to 60 for 3.
Yes. Yellow 0 to 60 for 3. Just really, you know, it's hard to be embarrassed about a 0 for 3 go again, and critically, it's an important enabler for maximum velocity like we've seen on prior turns. Yellow zipper hit, also for 4. Of course, not really any breakpoints being threatened, but it
And
is...
we do have a golden sun, so we are
Ooh.
going to get to draw a card on the gold creation, but we know a twin drive is going to get boost.
Wait, so Golden Sun makes an additional gold, right? But there's
Gold-
only 1 card draw from Victor?
Yes, it is the first time an action card that you own creates a gold, you will draw a card. So we have this golden sun now.
Oh, it's never a good sign when you have to scoot the combat chain over to keep it going. Another zipper hit. Still a resource if we want to end on a pistol shot.
I was just about to say we have the resources for pistol. We'll see if Jesse's worried about that or is ready to just begin sending some overpowered attacks. We also know that Arsenal is the Command and Conquer.
Yes. You know, where you see Isaac picking his deck up, it's getting thin over there. He's, you know, 15 is a low life total for Jesse, but it's not that low if we consider kind of the state of Isaac's deck.
That's absolutely right. We've got a hamburger-sized graveyard over here, and it looks like we're beginning to count cards. It's a bit more than I expected.
So my count is 21 there.
Okay, 21 is what we have in deck. Got 2 cards in pitch that'll go back. Victor, I think, is feeling quite comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, even just looking at the ratios of what's elapsed, we're 2/3 of the way through Isaac's deck, but
We've
less
seen
than 2/3 of the way through Jesse's life. And so in terms of the fatigue race, I think Jesse is technically in the lead here.
And we've seen so many of the power cards already committed or boosted away, but luckily there's backup protocol. When you need it, go and get one of your powerful attacks back. And I think we might just set that up for a max V turn later.
Surely, surely. A incredible arsenal target because it's an item with Go Again. You can just play it out whenever you need it. We also have yet to see the Crown of Providence come into play for Isaac. Victor, of course, if you give any pressure, is going to want to swing that Titan's Fist. Usually an option to fix your hand if you want to set up something really impressive. Of course,
Dash is going down to 18 here, able to just say, no, I have to keep the pressure on you. You can pressure me in my life, but it's my deck that matters.
so pistol for 2 with the Quicken. Natural Go Again here. And taking a real card to block from Jesse. Of course, Jesse still has access to that Command and Conquer in Arsenal. And Tunic is still up. If he finds a blue and another pummel, we could, of course, be looking at a similar situation to where we were earlier on that maximum V turn.
And the Spark of Genius is going to be a difficult one because if you want to play a power card like your High Octane and a Spark of Genius, you activate Balance of Justice. And you do have to play around that because if Victor's goal is to block you out, every card that you take out of their hand is going to matter.
I mean, I'm going to be honest here. We've seen, we know the backup protocol is in hand. We've seen 2 Techno Cores banished. There might just not be any Spark targets left for Isaac at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, this isn't /IO. We aren't running our full rainbow suite of boom grenades here. We just want to commit to
Oh,
our...
and blocking with the tunic.
Wow.
So overloop really looks like an inconspicuous on hit. It just says when this hits during the bottom of your deck. But when fatigue is the name of the game, saying I didn't cost a card out of deck is a huge... Oh, maximum
Here it is.
velocity? Is that going into Arsenal? Yes.
It is.
Okay. So Isaac has access to 4 max fees this game.
But we know what Jesse's been holding on to
We
here.
do.
There it is, the Command and Conquer. And do you have 6? And are you willing to commit the cards from hand? With this low life, we get into a position where committing 2 cards here could be devastating if you let your Victor player draw up and they get a crush effect. And there it is, Crown of Providence being committed, getting that maximum velocity back into the deck.
Yeah, still leaves Isaac with a 5-card hand, but of course not the sort of guarantee of what's in the arsenal that we had from the Backup Protocol Red.
And truthfully, Rhea, there is never a guarantee for a maximum velocity. We have conditions we have to meet. That's boosting, that's paying resources. So we could just be saying here, it was a nice thought, but I'd rather just shoot you.
All right. Well, speaking of, this is probably going to be the most impactful high-octane turn of the game. Full 5-card hand, 0 cost boosts, exactly what you want to see to really accrue lots of pistol shots as the game goes on.
Absolutely, and this balance of justice is really going to be able to do nothing here for you on the blocks.
Yes, Victor technically compelled to block with it, even though he has no other equipment, and it blocks for 0.
And we see another pummel here, which is another 2 block.
Oh, brutal. So throttle for 6, put
Throttle
Stash at
for 6.
3 action points.
We have 2 block left in hand, 3 action points.
And that's 2 cast homes being blocked with. So Isaac has 2 cards in hand, 3 action points. At the very least, that can be converted to 3 pistol shots.
Here we go.
Oh, but
It's
not boosting.
zipper
okay.
hit for 5, no boost.
With 1 resource floating, I believe. There's a yellow throttle and a... Is that a overloop in the pitch zone? What a spicy dash inclusion. Just another way to put cards back on the bottom of your deck and not be fatigued out.
Absolutely, and here we go to load the
Teklo Foundry Heart.
Teklo Foundry
Okay.
Heart to get the resources, to get those pew-pews out there.
I mean, at this point, this is essentially unblockable damage. Jesse has no cards in hand. There's no equipment. Isaac knows this is for free damage.
Which is Keeley not yet lethal.
Of course, there's 2 maximum velocities in deck. Just have to set them up and make sure that we have enough cards to boost 3 times to do that.
Absolutely, and the list is getting tight here as we've seen several 0s to 60s. We've seen our T-bones come out here. We are starting, just loading the gun, loading the chamber. I think probably one of the best uses of resources at this point.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. This is a critical trounce. Macho Grande,
Macho Grande
definitely
is gonna win
winning.
that one. And then another T-bone against
And
an Enlightened
E-Strike
Strike.
beats it. All right.
What a card to draw here too, Rhea.
Oh, that's true. The Enlightened Strike is what's drawn by the card draw. What a
Yes.
huge trounce.
We could possibly be looking at a go again into a Titan's Fist and still blocking an extra card here. 4 cards in hand. Do we have a test of strength there, or have we seen them committed? It doesn't look like it to me.
Is that a clash of...
It does look like a Clash of Might,
Yeah.
a Choke Slam, Enlightened Strike.
Oh, and this is just another pistol shot. So saying, I'm done with the turn after this, there's no way to generate an action point again. The induction chamber's already been used.
There is a counter on, oh right, but it's been used this turn. So we're going to clash here.
And winning again. So a free might token, a second might token.
And I mean, here we have an Enlightened Strike that can be go again for 7 without having to commit to the boost effect. Again, I keep wanting to say boost, but when we're talking about mechanologists, let's be clear. We're buffing the power. So here we go.
So-
We'll see if we commit it on the Enlightened Strike.
So there's a vigor here. There's two mites. Are you ever tempted to just start cracking gold to find something even spicier to throw at this to throw at Isaac.
Rhea, I am, but I have a serious gambling problem. That is, Victor's gold is like me with cracking packs of outsiders. Anything, anything in that pack could be what I want. It could even be a codex.
It could even be a Marvel Codex. So we've seen lots of threats be blocked with by Jesse. There's several Spinal Crushes in the graveyard. We've seen the Golden Suns be blocked with. Of course, not really looking for Overpower to close out the game at this point. I think he was reaching for his deck. I think we're going to go fishing here.
Here we go.
All right, what's the draw? Cranial Crush. Not the best, not the
best,
worst.
but we have another free crack here with our floating resource from the Vigor and a blue pitch, so we can draw another card.
Wow, and there's a Golden Sun.
That's incredible.
So
we have Enlightened Strike for 7 into Golden Sun for 10.
We're now looking at lethal being presented by Jesse.
We absolutely are. I mean,
going again. Let's go. Why not? Okay.
Okay, we know we're going to have the resources, so why not search for a pummel?
I mean, this very clearly looks like Enlightened Strike for 7 go again into 10 Overpower Golden Sun. If Isaac isn't careful, if he says... Oh, interesting.
Wow.
So the disable, also very real here. If it crushes Isaac's graveyard, his arsenal is put on the bottom of his deck. Jesse managed to find a command and conquer-like effect among all of that card draw.
Now, Rhea, do you think the play here is just saying, we're going to keep presenting damage and take cards from your hand because I know I have the blocks in my favor and your threats are getting diminished each turn? You might be able to block me out here, but if I can take some cards against you and the best you can do is send 2 my way, I'll take that any day.
I think that's exactly what we're seeing happen. Jesse knows that as long as Isaac can't have 5-card hands, that Jesse can survive the, offensive boosting onslaught here.
It's
Isaac
a
down to
dangerous
3
place
cards.
to be in when you have these pummels here, though. We have another 2-block in hand, and you might think of Victor as an incredibly defensive hero, but when you draw those 2 blocks against a dash, every point of defense matters.
Yeah.
We do have an Enlightened Strike that can be followed up with an Enlightened Strike.
Pitching to load pistol. Importantly, not playing that Teklo Pounder.
And I think at this point, that's a great play. We're not losing any cards in deck by loading a pistol, and we can give it go again for free here as we already loaded the induction chamber earlier. We're going to spend a resource to do it again. And here's the Teklo Core.
Yeah, so just deciding, do I want a little bit more damage next turn? This game might not go 3 more turns, so probably not getting full value out of the Teklo Pounder. But 2 resources next turn can mean the difference. It's like Isaac stowing an extra card in hand almost.
And we just drew 2 sparks and a max velocity. Not going to be able to get that max velocity off. Probably blocking with those sparks because we're breaking another gold. Now, I got to wonder if Jesse is kicking himself at all, seeing that Teklo Core, knowing there was a no block in hand.
I mean, that's just the name of the game with Mechanologist, right? It's still going to be a nasty amount of damage coming from Jesse here. 5 go again. At the very minimum, 7 more.
And I mean, Rhea, we know there's Teklo Pounders in this list that are still in the deck, but these Spark of Geniuses, even if you boost, if you play both of them, that's balance of justice.
It is, yes. If there are, enough items left in the deck. Probably going to see them blocked with. And you never want to see a maximum velocity blocked with in these kind of overcoming fatigue style matchups.
Looks like we're going for 7 here. And if you commit the hand, that's 6, going down to 11.
The overall game seems very well positioned for Jesse at this point. Of course, that hand very uncooperative for Isaac. These 2 resources from the Teklo Core are really just going to turn into pistol for 2, pistol for 2.
Absolutely. And if I'm Jesse here, I'm looking at the last of my deck.
Yeah.
That's the last of Jesse's deck.
I mean, both of these players have done a lot of blocking. Isaac might have out-fatigued the Guardian.
That's incredible. We got a
I was so fixated on Isaac's deck count that I didn't even pay attention to how many cards Jesse had left. No,
Oh,
no, 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 no.
well,
So we were certainly bamboozled.
we do our best here, but when you pull the deck off the screen, it looks like we just have a big pile in the discard, and that certainly threw us for a loop. But this game is still going. We're committing, looks like just one, saying, I don't need this arsenal. I'd rather have something else, and I
yeah,
certainly
just
think
never
that's the
getting
case.
that maximum velocity off for the rest of the game.
Certainly. You want to put that in there when you have those zero-cost boosts early, when you have a Teklo Core online, but even with the Teklo Core, at this point in the game, spending cards to boost from a deck with low card counts, I mean, that looks like 2.
It does look like 2 cards in deck. I think this
So-
might be Dash's last hurrah to try to overcome Jesse's defenses here.
We are down to 2 cards in Isaac's deck, and Jesse has more than 2.
No, considerably more than 2, which is more than the 0 that
Yeah.
it looked like a second ago.
We may not be able to tell you the exact number of Jesse's cards in deck, but we know that it's more than 0 now.
I'm gonna be bold here. I'm gonna guess it's more than 3.
Rhea, I can't see so well in my old age, but it does look like it's more than 3 here, and it looks like we are going to have certainly some sort of response in the Titan's Fist. We have a blue Macho Grande in hand and 6 life remaining.
Yeah. Oh, we also importantly have a might token, so the Titan's Fist coming in for 5. Of course, really any damage is enough to be an inconvenience at this point.
And a
for
high
Isaac.
octane is an inconvenience in its own right, in that getting those action points when you're boosting from a deck with 1 card.
Ironically, the draw kind of undesirable there. You would rather be able to boost that card instead of putting it into your hand.
Absolutely, and I mean, I think Jesse's... at
Jesse
this
has to
point,
be feeling good about the position in this game, right?
You got to be feeling good, but I imagine there's some stress here too, as Dash players are known for their tricky ways of getting cards out of your hands. And if you can generate an action point while you have a counter on your pistol and on your induction chamber, well, that could be a dangerous situation for Jesse.
Yeah. So I'm seeing throttles, overloops. So yeah,
You are
one throttle
boosting
left.
the Teklo Pounder out of deck. And
Test of
it's a test
strength.
of strength, and well,
Is this
that's
be
going to
free?
be a win.
There's nothing. Yeah.
There's a free
Nothing to
gold
reveal.
free card draw. And it appears here we are just waiting out the inevitable,
Yeah.
as Jesse has fatigued Isaac down to 2 cards in deck at the end of this turn. In fact, 0 cards in deck and 3 in hand.
Yeah.
Make
Just deciding to
that
play the
2.
overloop. Of course, this needs to be blocked out or else it's going to go back to the bottom. And then with the spare action point from the earlier high octane, you can end on pistol shot. But
Not
you
going to
know,
extend
we're
the
looking
hand
at
yet.
the entirety of Isaac's deck. It is these 2 cards. Command and Conquer going to take all of the cards.
Lethal damage, going to
Yeah.
require you to go down to 3 if you want to just pew your way into a slow death.
Yeah. So pistol can take 2 cards from Jesse here, but without, any way to prevent the damage from Titan's Fist on the next turn cycle, while also having cards in deck to continue to shoot with the plasma pistol, I think we are looking at kind of set game here for Jesse.
It looks like we're rolling a die. I can't...
And that's the fist bump.
Okay, there we have it. Your round 4 winner is going to be Jesse on Victor, fixing the hands, fixing the game in his favor, the way Victor players love to do, especially at the end when you know you're going to win a clash because your opponent simply cannot present a number if there are no cards in deck.
It always is really fitting for me, I feel, when you get to say Victor certainly was the victor of that game.
And I was just about to say that Victor is a horse. And I feel good saying that. Now, I'm curious, Rhea, when we have a position like this where it comes, well, quite frankly, I'm coming to fatigue here. So we're going to take a break. We'll get back to you with more commentary in just a bit.
See you then.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for Flesh and Blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza! At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com. Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you. The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25. Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for Flesh and Blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza! At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com. Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you. The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25. Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. FABTCG is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on FABTCG by heading over to FABTCG.net.
Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for flesh and blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. FABTCG is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on FABTCG by heading over to FABTCG.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for flesh and blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. FABTCG is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management.
Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net.
Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for flesh and blood commentary, deck techs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Card's trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for flesh and blood commentary, deck techs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Card's trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered.
See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net.
Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for flesh and blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for flesh and blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for flesh and blood commentary, deck techs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe.
We are back. We look a little different. Craig, I'm a playmat.
And I'm a Might token.
Oh my God, what a day of changes for us both. We just want to let you know real quick, we are working out one time extension that is just about to resolve, and we'll be back in a few moments with round 5?
I believe that's correct, Jeff. And I gotta be honest, I take umbrage with what you just said. I have always been a Might token. You're the crazy one.
You are clearly a ponder token because I've been wondering since the day I met you. However, Craig, I'm a little bored watching all these high-end meta matches. I want to watch something fun. I'm going to go find us a real weird feature match to watch, a cool hero we haven't seen yet today.
That's very cool, Jeff. However, I'm sort of curious how you've come to the decision that these are high-end meta matches when we've had quite the spread here today.
Oh, I've been picking from the top tables.
Yes, our meta here, however, this is certainly no Pro Tour Zen making up 60% of the pool.
It really is crazy. Again, just to reiterate, out of 51 players, only 2 are on Zen. But to give you a little context, 4 Auzri, 4 -IO, 2 Vincent, like 2 Dorinthia. It is just crazy out here in the woods. We're going to go get our next feature match set up for you. I'm going to still be a playmat. Craig's now a Zen Tamer of Purpose.
I've
We're
always
changing in
been a
front of
Zen
us.
Tamer of Purpose,
You said-
Jeff. You are confused.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the...
Folks, we have the winners for the Quiver and the O3 Drop sleeve giveaway. So if you've entered for the Quiver or O3 Drop giveaway, lend me your ears. Please, lend me your ears, because Jack Sayer, you have won a Quiver Time Quiver. The way to redeem this is going to be to reach out to the email we will be putting in chat for you. Reach out there and we will get this delivered for you. And however, we also have, not however, in addition, we have the winners for the O3 Drop, the custom card sleeves that my mother loves so much, Chris Yunk and Clads. Chris Yunk and Clads, reach out to the email in chat and we will get it set up to have these shipped out to you. Congratulations, winners. We will be right back with our round 5. We are just pairing up here in a minute. We're going to find something spicy, something caliente, something you don't normally have for your next course.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for flesh and blood commentary, deck techs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza. Adding
Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkedgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me.
Here with an assassin matchup here for you. We have Auzri and New. Jimmy's going to be bringing us the Marvel New against Noah's Auzri here.
Flashbacks to the top 8 of the recent Pro Tour Amsterdam here is just what I'm remembering.
I love that storyline. I certainly, at first seeing, it was Auzri and who was it was a Levia on the other side of the bracket, breaking the mold of New and Zen's stranglehold on the meta. So here, I think we're likely to see some scale peelers presented, likely by both heroes.
Well, I'm Rhea, this is Craig, and we are here to guide you through this Assassin Mirror in round 5 of the Greentree Summer Camp.
And at this point, we might be looking at players that will likely be in our top 8. One of these players will go on to likely a win and in, as I believe these players are at our top tables.
Yes, both players, at the very least, X and 1, fighting for contention in tomorrow's coveted top 8. Of course, still seeing at the other top tables quite a bit of Mechanologist, quite a bit of arcane damage, but not the Kano variety.
I'm seeing a few Enigmas over there as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know that we have currently a 4-0 Enigma, I believe. At least in the last round, they were undefeated. So we might be looking at a top 8 with some Mechanologists, some arcane damage, some Illusionists. Be a very interesting one for you.
Sounds like my kind of party.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, Red, no one brought the ice. We also don't have any Draconic, as Phi is sort of unrepresented.
Well, you know, Zen is the new Phi, so...
Right, it's just blue. Mystic is just blue Draconic.
Yeah, if you can play a bunch of red cards that are all 0 for 3s, or a bunch of blue cards that are all 0 for 3s, guess which one is better?
I think this is a trick question, and I think yellow is the answer.
You're right, Prism.
Yeah,
it's always Prism.
Well, Zen certainly has a lot of blues that certainly feel like reds. I know you're saying a blue 0 for 3, but off what we saw earlier, double Art of War and an Ancestral, I think 3 is the floor for a Tiger there. Just about.
So this is a really important aesthetic question. What's your opinion
Hero sleeves.
on the hero sleeves that don't match the hero?
Well, at this point, I have to. I believe the term is not yucking someone's yum. You know, I have always tried to keep my deck sleeves to be very ninja-centric when I play Katsu. And recently, I've switched to just the O3 drop podcast sleeves. Gotta rep the brand. But I will tell you, it's a little bit better for me that it's an Azalea and a new. If it was a new and, say, a Prism or like another talented hero of a class that like they don't have matching sets, you know.
Okay, that's a really interesting observation because I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, for a reason I can't explain, Azalea and Assassin go well together. Like, something about the Ranger and Assassin classes work
Absolutely.
well in a way that, like, Warrior and Illusionist just, like, would be bizarre.
There's something about, let's say, a Victor player using chain sleeves.
Yes,
That's just not
yeah.
correct, but it doesn't apply in this situation because I think it's that sort of Azalea is in the pits. She's got the
okay.
spider connections, and Nu has her own sort of assassin cult. So there is some tie in there, and if you can give me that, I'll give you a pass on the sleeves. But what I do have a difficult time with is different sleeves for each equipment piece. That, luckily, we haven't seen here yet
Oh,
today.
interesting. So we're seeing Flick Knives combined with Master of Recurring Nightmares being presented by Jimmy, our new player.
And I think that's got to be a heads-up play against what we expected to be Scale Peelers, but instead we see Nerve Scalpel. And we have a Spider's Bite and a the Mystic Blade here.
Of course, the Beckoning Mistblade. One
Yes.
of New's most powerful turn extenders, just a dagger that can give something else go again. Bit like a bit of a Mauvrian Skies, if you're familiar with Runeblade.
I think I've seen a couple Rune Blades recently. We're starting off here with an Isolate, so could be a great time just to lay the hand down, say, you can send 6, but I'm not going to keep a 2-card hand. I'm drawing up anyway.
Well, you would love to do that, but Isolate, importantly, has Dominate. That's the defining feature of this frequently 9 of stealth card in Auzri.
That's very interesting. And how is Flesh and Blood played again? And we have the reaction. We're going to see what we have. Death
Oh, and it's a
touch
death
of all the
touch.
cards with the on-hit here.
Starting with a Frailty token, telling your assassin opponent, your daggers can't hit me, is a great way for them. Oh, but starting with a Blood Rot instead. Interesting.
Well, Noah didn't get this far by picking at random. This isn't
Oh,
a
absolutely
plague
not.
hive. This is a thought-out decision
Yeah.
here. Maybe just say, I know you're going to want those blues, but you're going to have to give them to me for the Blood Rot. I'm not letting you transcend just yet.
So I see a Sensor in Jimmy's hand. Can be quite useful to slow down those isolates like we just saw.
We also have a Surgical Extraction. I haven't seen any reactions that lead me to believe that we're going to present that yet.
Are we going to double pitch for a Mistblade here?
Well, yeah, we do have the Mistblade online still because we're not going for the Frailty.
Yeah, either dagger is available.
And Rhea, when we're talking about aesthetics, is there anything more aesthetically superior than just putting your cards on the table and leaning back? That, to me, is a player that's feeling relaxed and just putting out an aura
The
of
aura,
dominance.
you nailed it. It's that aura. Oh, just playing the Surgical Extraction. Okay. Saying to Auzri, give me 2 cards or give up your armor early.
And it's interesting. We do have the boots that we can buy back, and it looks like we are going to commit them, but we're giving up a contract card. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
That's a
stealth-
shakedown. That's one
Yeah.
of Auzuri's most powerful cards, just being so nonchalantly blocked with.
A
To
s-
me, that has to say one of a few things. So either Auzuri doesn't have a stealth card to swap in this turn, or Noah has access to multiple good swap-ins, so he doesn't need all of them, right?
And we are deciding to take the Blood Rot, too. So we like the arsenal, and we say we're going to hold on to this. We have picked the pieces. Likely adjust the Nick if we're going to commit a shakedown.
Justin Nick or
A
some
stealth reaction.
other swap. Potentially there is a Shred in hand, which could explain why we're still at 3 cards here. It's very interesting to me to see how Justin Nick has made its way into Auzuri as well. I would have upon initial spoiler season, guess that to kind of just be a new card.
Well, you know, when you're playing these cards like looking for a scrap, there's always opportunities to get extra value out of these one-cost cards. And for Auzri, one cost means we probably have got a blue pitch and we have a stealth target.
Yeah.
Committing the boots here. We do have the, the Marvel.
Is that a Marvel Codex of Frailty?
That is.
Beautiful card.
Interesting blocks here. We're giving a Censor and a Codex of Frailty against
Yeah, so
a
that's...
stealth card. And do you swap here is the question. Do
I
you
think,
just say...
I think Noah's just passing. You know, you spend one card and took no damage last turn, and you got Jimmy to give 2 cards. You're kind of happy with the exchange on that turn cycle.
I think so, Rhea. And I mean, both players running Tunic, you just say, all right, we're just going to keep moving forward till we got this counter on, and then we're going to start swinging with these daggers.
Yeah, but now we're getting to an awkward position. Noah doesn't have, and a Bonds of Agony with a resource floating.
Now, here's the thing, Rhea. We have committed to blocking with the boots, so we could activate it and give it go again.
Yes.
Do we have the Shred in Arsenal, or do we have to commit to throwing one of our daggers?
This would be an incredibly early flick knives. I think it's unlikely that it's Chi in Arsenal. Yeah, just passing.
I think that's a great decision. I mean, the value that you can get off on those boots with just backing up a Bonds with any sort of... Here we go. We have the Shakedown.
Just playing Shakedown. So this card is a bit tricky if you're not familiar with Assassin. Importantly, it just cares about if any attack reaction has been activated this chain link, then it gains the on-hit of sort of that look at your hand, discard a card effect. Now, you might say, all right, well, Auzri hasn't been activated, so Shakedown isn't online. That's not the only reaction that Noah has access to.
That's right. We have the boots, and it looks like we're committing them here.
Yeah, so Shakedown, unless there's a D-react, now threatening to take a card out of Jimmy's hand. Seems like he might have the follow-up.
And is that a Command and Conquer in hand?
I think that's I think that's a Fabled Command and Conquer. In addition to the Fiendl's Spring Tunic,
And
that could be a really powerful Spider's Bite into CNC.
And we are seeing a Persuasive Prognosis as well. And this is a great card just to be able to present one and say, you really want to give me a card and not let me decide which one you're giving me.
Yeah.
But we are going to start with the Mistblade.
Taunting with the Mistblade. So trying to give a little bit of perhaps a misdirect here in terms of what the follow-up is and convince Noah to block before the CNC starts.
Absolutely. This is a complete mind game because you might think that
And Noah says, send me the bill.
Here we go. Do we go with the CNC or do we get to see what's in that arsenal? It is the CNC.
It is a Command and Conquer.
And notably, if that is a Shred in Arsenal, if that is an attack reaction, a lot of news attack reactions, they care specifically about being Assassin or Mystic. So being able to pump it on the CNC here, unlikely.
It would have to be, what, exactly grain that tips the scales? I believe that's the only reaction in the deck that can target a generic card.
I think you're right. However, we never know what these players are going to bring. There's always the chance that we do get something we haven't seen, like a lunging press. We have one of my favorite cards in the game, Leave No Witness here. Such an incredible card. 0 for 4 on hit, banish your arsenal. And without the boots here, we do want to get this silver as quickly as we can.
So I don't know about you. I feel like I'm kind of suspicious here if I'm Jimmy. Noah just playing this Leave No Witness, card in hand, card in arsenal. This smells like a shred to me.
I certainly think so. We've had turns before where it's looked like there could be a reaction. And if I'm in this position, I'm always smelling a shred.
That's
if
true.
I'm against an assassin,
That's true.
Every card in hand represents a shred. But I think here might certainly be one where that is the case. And this is a card that if we have a stealth in hand, we could have just swapped if we really wanted to get the card out of arsenal. We could have swapped for this one. Instead, it looks like we're saying we want cards from hand. Giving a sensor and hitting the
Bonds of Agony. So not only getting a silver, but also taking away one of Nu's best cards in the deck.
Absolutely, and we're not yet back to having the silver for boots, but we do have, it looks like a Persuasive Prognosis in hand, so this Mistblade is going to be very important. We saw Noah last time say, you know what, that's fine, I don't think you're going to send me anything threatening, but here he sees it, and that's the third Death Touch.
And Noah just ended last turn cycle with that last card in hand. I don't know how it can't be a shred at this point. That's my called shot.
I mean, I certainly think I don't think we've ever been wrong, Rhea. But here it feels more likely than ever that we're looking at a shred.
I don't know. I've been wrong plenty of times, but...
Well, you haven't top 8'd as many events as I have.
This is true.
Yeah, this is not true.
Well, maybe that's something I'm wrong about then.
Hey! And we have the Fang Strikes and a Slither here.
Yeah.
And a Fate Foreseen.
Fate Foreseen, but... You know, on a 5 power, the four defense reaction going to go over by 1.
Interesting.
So the question is, what's the banish off the top? It's an
also
own Bonds of Agony, but there's no blues.
And Keeley, there are no shreds.
What in the world? I was wrong.
and so Noah's going to be able to keep the hand, but we know that we have a great play here. Enlightened Strike, go again into Codex for the Leave No Witness. Incredible turn. That's 9 damage with Disruption. I think we're likely to see that here. And we have no blocks in hands.
We have 2 no blocks in hand. 2 Chi cards.
Now this could be a chance to double Transcend here and get the value off of your Rising Sun, Setting Moon. But you're looking at giving Go Again, super Go Again.
Super Go Again.
Because Enlightened Strike, we have chosen Go Again, so there's not much harm in doing that. But you do just get these Chi cards, and what do you do with them?
Yeah, so importantly, Master of Recurring Nightmares has to have an attack already existing in order to react and force Noah to banish a card from hand. So if Jimmy wants to do that with either of these Chi on this turn cycle, needs to hold something else, even if it's just a yellow for a dagger attack.
Yeah, that's right. Mask of Recurring Nightmares is an attack reaction, so it must be on Nu's turn. Even though we have the possibility of doing it, we have to have an attack on the chain if we're going to do that. So here we go. It looks like we're just taking 5.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when you know that there's a Codex of Frailty to follow this up, the vanilla damage really stops being the scary part.
And with 2 blocks in hand, you don't want to commit the arsenal, even if it is a defense reaction, because you're just going to have to pull another card from your hand into arsenal just to lose to the Leave No Witness.
All right, and here we go. It's never not Leave No Witnesses. With Tunic not up. And of course, Ponder and Frailty on both sides. Those daggers not going to be very useful this turn cycle.
This is seriously looking like an off turn here. I mean, we'll have the Chi, but we have to have a 0-cost attack in arsenal if we're going to be able to make use of them.
Yeah.
However, if we have the Mask of Recurring Nightmares, and that's a perfect way of clawing back into the game.
Curious to see what the play is here.
Is it a blue? It
Oh,
is.
it's a surgical.
So we have the Transcend available and the Mask of Recurring Nightmares. We can possibly take 2 cards out of hand here.
Almost guaranteed, yeah. Because there's not Black Tech Whispers to cover up the breakpoint in terms of armor.
Right, we do have
Oh, but it's
the crown.
3. It's 3 because of the frailty.
the frailty.
The breakpoint is gone because of the frailty. What a clutch!
Still looking at 3 then, because we have a shred here that will block out 3, and we have the attack reaction. Which one did we keep? Did we keep a grain that tips the scales?
I believe it's a Stir the Pot. No.
I think you're correct, Rhea.
Really thinking about, is
and-
it worth to Oh, it's a path well traveled.
Okay, so we do have the Go Again. At this point, we could play it just for the Bonds of Agony, but what do you follow up with? Where are the reactions there? And it looks like we're just going to do the Mask.
Yeah.
Losing an Isolate from deck, one of Auzri's key cards, but in the late game, it begins to cycle itself as each time we activate Auzri, it goes to the bottom of the deck. So maybe thinning it out isn't a worry for Noah.
Look at Jimmy's hand here, by the way. There is a Siren's Call. There's a Bonds of Agony. There's a Just a Nick. Unless Noah presents considerable disruption this turn cycle, I think we might see a very powerful turn from Jimmy.
It looks like he's going to go to 20 and just say, you know what? I have the hand I've been waiting for. Let's make use of it.
Yeah, this is finally the time to really start popping off. Of course, you really wish Tunic was available to pay for that Siren's Call, but there's plenty this hand can do anyways.
And did we miss a Tunic trigger? Should it be available?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, so we have one floating. We have the Siren's Call. We have the Bonds and the Just a Nick available. We're going to try and pump it just a little bit more with this Beckoning Mistblade. Now, Rhea, how is it that every time I play new, they have this hand every turn? It's almost like, in fact, it's a perfect that they've got Azalea as their sleeves, because Azalea has red in the ledger every turn. So
Oh, blocking with the Flick Knives already.
here we go, saying I've already got enough of a life advantage. I don't need to chip you out at the end with this.
Now, here's the question. Can we hit a blue on this Siren's Call? Because if there is one in hand,
No,
there
there's not.
isn't.
There's not. Which not only does that mean that this isn't available for the next attack, but you have to use Flick Knives to get the 3 reactions now. In fact,
This
can
is
you get
no,
the
you
3
you don't even it's not even worth it knowing that your opponent has a sink below. Chat, you can't see me. My mouth is agape right now. What a pivotal moment in this game.
That was incredible.
So we know now. Weakest link, spreading plague, looking for a strap. You know, it's actually not a very good hand for Noah. It's a very resource starved hand, but ironically, that's turned out to help him in this particular turn cycle.
And here's the spreading plague.
There's a Just a
And-
Nick, but
But
it's not really doing anything.
it would just represent 3 damage and a banished card. And at this point, the value you can get on holding it is just so much more, especially when you know there is no Arsenal disruption in hand.
It's such a dangerous card to Arsenal, though, because Nu can go a turn or two without finding one of those 1-power attacks. And so if you draw a Codex of Frailty before you draw a blue 1-power stealth card, now you're looking at, a serious predicament that you're in.
And it looks like we are going to see the Arsenal.
Okay.
And I mean, there's likely 9 1-power attacks. I mean, I can only think of 3 that I know that are in the deck so far. And we do see 2 weakest links and levels of
2 weakest link,
enlightenment.
levels and a
And-
venomous bite. So yeah,
Yeah.
nothing to nick in this hand.
Not only that, but can't get value off of the best value we can get off of the levels of enlightenment is as a pitch.
Yeah. So kind of funny here, Noah, in order to fuel this looking for a strap with Go Again, is banishing a blue card that Jimmy can use later in the game as News Hero power, that pick to pieces that we just saw banished.
Now, importantly, went for the pick to pieces and not a bonds. You
Yeah.
can't just go for the first one you see. You have to play out the long game. And we do
This
have
is
an isolate.
It gives Jimmy something to do with that venomous bite that doesn't really have a target in this hand. But, there's, 2 cards in hand for Noah. There's probably some sort of Auzri swap here that's going to be painfully disruptive.
And I gotta be honest, I don't think Auzri really runs any no blocks. And we
Okay.
have the weakest link on this end. We're gonna reveal the hand. We have blocks, but that information is the entire game for Assassins.
Absolutely.
It's all about forcing information out of your opponent's hands.
Yeah, knowledge is power, as they say. Oh, so actually, the 2 players swapping each other's weakest links there as cards go to the graveyard.
And here we go. Even if we go for the Spider's Bite and the weakest link with the Tunic, it's all face up.
Yeah, I mean, Weakest Link is kind of one of those cards that you play as a concession in this matchup to the wider metagame, right? So obviously with Weakest Link, you're trying to target the Mirror, you're trying to target Zen. Auzri, kind of famously, doesn't play many cards that don't block. And so this really is like just a brutal assault. It's just a 2 for 6. It has a 3 in the bottom right corner. Not really the kind of turns you want to see as new as you're trying to stay up in terms of holding the tempo in this assassin mirror.
And interestingly, we're letting the opponent see our hand. We have the go again resources that we need to just say, you know what, I've got Hurl looking for a scrap and leave no witnesses. I'm going to present you damage. I'm going to make a wide chain link because I've already got this lead that I'm not going to give up on.
And so critically, it's kind of very useful to know that Noah has access to a weakest link in this hand because Jimmy has just drawn a Marvel Drain that tips the scales. So Jimmy does have a no block.
Where's he getting all these marbles from, Rhea?
I don't know. I'm quite interested. I'm in the market for some right now,
Well,
blinging out my own new deck.
Well, luckily, I know one trading card themed summer camp that might have them for you.
Oh my goodness. I'm interested. All right, I'm gonna take a guess. It's Camp Blue Lake, right?
It's something like that. And I believe Jimmy owns WNY Gaming, so he is certainly able to play with a little bit of flash, a little bit of style.
It's not Blue Lake, by the way. It's Greentree. Just for chat. Just making sure we're all on the same page.
I was born at night, but not last night, Rhea. If you're gonna pull one over on me, you gotta wake up pretty early.
Looking for a scrap into Hurl. This is as wide as Assassin can go in terms of having relevant go again on a turn. Exactly what Noah wants to see
Not
when he
only that,
has
but
so much tempo.
We have the follow-up in the Spider's Bite, and we also, we've lost our Flick Knives, though, earlier on a block, so we can't commit them here.
Don't even need the weakest link. We've got to leave no witness.
So we are blocking out 4 here, it looks like.
Yes,
We
after
have
the
the
Spider's Bite.
Looking for Scrap's going to go down, but not the reaction.
So
9 to 37. This is not how I thought this was going to go.
it has been a bit one-sided, yes.
And that's how things are with new sometimes. Sometimes your hands just line up and you absolutely disrupt your opponent. You have the ability to just make their numbers bad. And other times, you're stuck with a hand with not much that you can do.
You know what? Oh, and it's just dagger pass. That's not ideal.
What did we get stuck with in the arsenal?
I'll
have
tell
to
you
wonder.
exactly what we are stuck with. It's that Justinic.
It is the Justin.
It's the Justinic.
It's still the that's. And we are finally. It looks like drawing into. No, that's a Rowdy Locals, I believe.
I think so.
We have 2 Rowdy Locals in hand. I believe we do.
Rowdy Locals, the smashing sequel to Feisty Locals.
Yes.
Both beloved generics from Assassin draftable sets.
Now, don't say LSS never did anything for Phi. And we are committing them to blocks again. At this point, our life is just too low. If
Is
you're
that all?
Jimmy-
Wait, is that all 3 Rowdy Locals in one hand? I think that
believe
might
it
have been
was.
the rowdiest of locals, even.
And you wish they could just be -1. They -1 base would let you get that arsenal out of there.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we see a Codex of Frailty that could be
could be.
sort of a powered turn. There's an issue.
You have an arsenal.
We have an arsenal already.
Oh boy, here we go. We're just praying. Send me a Command and Conquer.
On the 3rd, looking for a scrap already. All 3 times off of Tunage, just saying, here is my 0 for 5 go again.
And I mean, this has become such a premier assassin card. We have a judge call here, so we're going to take a minute. We're looking at our banished card.
Oh. Might be a question of if the pick was in the graveyard. I'm not quite certain. It's also interesting as we look at kind of the overall in the matchup. You know, Jimmy down in life total has access to all of his equipment still. Noah has been really aggressive in using the go again, just the defense on the Flick Knives, honestly, to dodge on hits and stay ahead in the game.
And it's certainly worked out in his favor here. And here we are committing the Mask of Recurring Nightmares. And of all the equipment to commit, that is one that hurts because you know that you're going to draw chi eventually. And it's really the second
I
hero
mean,
ability.
You say that there's been one transcendence. This
So we are looking at the hurl now. We have moved on from the judge question. We are committing a double trouble.
and then a
And
command
the
and conquer to
and
end.
if you can block out 5, which you can stay in it and get rid of that pesky Justinik. And I think that's what we're going to see unless we commit to Flick Knives as well. And it looks like that's what we're going to do.
Interesting.
Well, you know, Ray,
So there was an opportunity there for the command and conquer to hit, clear the arsenal, and then you can play the Codex of Frailty.
absolutely. But, I mean, life is a
Okay.
resource of its own, and we are hoping that we see. It doesn't look like we have a target. I saw a Leave No Witness. I saw a Siren's Call. And it is Noah's go.
Yeah, this game has really just kind of. This story has evolved around arsenaling this Justinik that's been stuck there.
I know I've been in that situation before with many heroes where, you know, originally with Assassin, it has been Shred.
Yeah.
That's been the one
Yes.
that gets stuck. But, I mean, this card is just dead in the water there. And I don't know if we have no blocks in hand.
Okay, well this
we
is.
do. We have a Sacred Art. Isn't that Sacred Art on?
I believe that's a Siren's Call.
Yes, that is the Siren's Call I mentioned earlier. Okay.
But this is, an opportunity to get back in this game. The fact that Noah has pitched 2 reds to play this weakest link means that probably not anything super threatening to follow it up, right? Just going to be an Arsenal pass. Jimmy now has access to a 3-card hand at least to do something potentially.
And we have the Tunic that can be used for the Siren's Call to pull cards out of hand if Noah has a blue.
For Siren's Call to pull cards, or for Undertow Stilettos, if you want to follow up. Well, though, no, we
just
blocked
have
with
the
the other
Jessamine
Leave No
and
Witnesses.
daggers.
Yeah. Yeah, so kind of an assumption here that you can Siren's Call after committing multiple cards to blocks. Or is Noah just going to say no blocks? Oh, this is perfect then. You get to add a card
Oh, and
defending. Oh,
we
but there's a
have
fate
2.
foreseen.
There's a Fate Foreseen, but we are going to be able to draw a card off the Siren's Call. It looks like we likely aren't going to be able to hit, but if I'm him, I'm saying, look, we've got 2 stealth cards here. Only one of them prevents me from blocking.
So already have the arsenal to Justinik. What's the perfect draw here? It's homage to Ancestors Gain a Life without transcending?
It could possibly be a Shred. I mean,
I mean, if there is a Shred in Jimmy's deck list, that you're right. That would be the perfect draw.
We'll see. Here's the Fate Foreseen. Oh, and it is. But
Is it
do
a
we have-
stealth card?
It was another Leave No Witness, but we don't have the ability to activate Boots here.
Yeah,
we
not.
need a resource.
Yeah. So Leave No Witness not going to hit. It did take 2 cards from Noah's hand, but just
But
going to
we
be a
know-
pass there.
But we know that there is a stealth card in Bonds, and we know that we have the Leave No Witness as well.
So can threaten to Auzri in if blocks aren't respected.
And here Noah's just saying, you know, I've got you on the edge already. I can. What is in your arsenal?
It must be a weakest link,
It could be a Weakest Link or a Command and Conquer, or possibly, I think we've seen all 3 shakedowns. There's
I think
one
that's
thing-
exactly what Jimmy is checking right now, actually. Lots of very important in these late stage assassin games to know exactly what threats your opponent has left. The longer the game goes on, the more you can be certain about what you need to play around because you haven't seen it yet.
And also, Noah knowing that Jimmy has seen his hand could just be saying, I keep you guessing by showing you these cards you've already seen and get you wondering about what's in my arsenal. It could be a Death Touch. And that
It could be a death touch.
We've taken the 1, so attacks are going to...
Oh, it's Codex. It's whatever you want it to be.
And we are going to have this 2 resources available, so we could go for a 6, or we could keep going for a 0 and attack with another. It is
It
going to
is
be
Death
the Death
Touch.
Touch.
Just representing lethal here with the Blood Rot.
Casual, lethal, coming in.
Death touch for 6. Under Spider's Bite, so Jimmy not able to block as efficiently as one might hope.
It looks like 3 cards might have to be committed here.
Yeah, I'm seeing an Art of Desire Mind,
Just
Bonds
a
of
Nick
Agony.
and a Just a Nick.
Yeah, and a Justinic. Well, we have found targets for the Justinic in the arsenal.
Unfortunately, we had to commit them, and here I believe is Leave No Witness. At least this will not be affected by the frailty.
Yes. You know, after Codex of Frailty, it can feel like you have some games where you see 12 Leave No Witness in one game.
I'm telling you, Rhea, they've always got that. They've always got Shred. Red in the Ledger is a 9 of in every Azalea deck.
Noah really kind of taking his time thinking about what the block is here. He's got really all the life total in the world to play around, and an inertia
And the
trap.
Inertia trap. It's not going to have buff power, so it won't trigger. But Noah's saying this arsenal is too important to me. And I know Noah to want to want to make day 2. He recently top 8'd a Road to Nationals on this list. He's been waiting.
Discarding to his own codex.
Interesting. And
So he's-
going for the Death Touch.
So he has 2 reds in hand,
I think
but Tunic is at 3.
so. We're likely seeing a Spider's Bite into a Death Touch.
Fascinating. In
This other card is a
Jimmy's
red.
hand, we see a Hiss, we see a Chi, and Enlightened Strike. Is that 2 Transcend cards actually on the left?
I think that's another Transcend card.
That's not where you want to be staring down a Death Touch at this point in the game.
And we still don't know what this other card could be anything, even a Shred.
It could even be a Shred.
Now, Rhea, we have no reason to really know whether or not they play any Shreds at
That's
this
true.
point. It's
We have
sort-
not seen many.
I know I've gotten yelled at for misusing this phrase before, but it's sort of Schrodinger's Shred.
Schrodinger's Shred. Yes, every card in Noah's hand is simultaneously Shred and not Shred until proven otherwise.
That's exactly what we have going here. And I know that on Jimmy's side, we've got to be considering that.
Oh, it's a Levels of Enlightenment is the last card in hand. So this really is quite a strong hand for Jimmy. Except he's going to be forced to interact with Noah.
And it looks like the best we might. Oh, okay. Committing the Levels of Enlightenment, saying, you know what? 5 go. It
And
is
there's
a
the Shred.
It is Red Shred.
Oh, brutal. So a Blood Rot on top of the Frailty means that the daggers aren't very useful. Still don't have a target for Justinic.
Noah with a comfortable lead 5 to 36 has to be feeling good here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely channeling his inner Pro Tour champion, Shoma, as just putting on a masterclass of Auzri in this game.
Absolutely. I know that I certainly tanked the win rate of that Talishar deck, but here Noah is bringing it back up.
So Jimmy at a virtual 3 after this Blood Rot is resolved, unless...
And so interesting, not preparing for that Blood Rot, he committed his blue.
Oh, and just going
And we're
to
just
pay
going
for
to
the Blood
pay.
Rot. Got to stay out of lethal range. Dance around the shreds that may or may not be in Noah's next hand.
And here we have an
just an isolate.
And this is the worst card you could see if you're Jimmy. Especially if we can back it up with a Command and Conquer, something that can prevent reactions from being played, though Jimmy
mean-
not going to be able to present one.
Yeah, it's very clear to Noah at this point that it is not a reaction in Jimmy's arsenal. and
my
there's another
goodness,
shred.
We see the Shred, and we
And it's
see
a
the slip,
CNC.
and
There
that's
are no
game.
more. There are no reactions on this link. That's going to kill Jimmy from 5 life.
What an absolutely incredible game by Noah. I mean, that was a masterclass of Auzri if I've ever seen one. And I did at the Pro Tour. That was incredible.
Yeah, just really aggressively using the equipment to maintain tempo in the early game and kind of force New into a corner where Jimmy couldn't maintain any sort of an offense, just being constantly battered by disruption from Noah.
I don't think we saw the nerve scalpel swung once.
No.
And I don't think it mattered.
Did not matter, in fact.
We did not need to. Noah came in here and said, one dagger's fine. I'll bring an arcane lantern.
All right, well, that's going to do it. Noah one step closer to top 8, and of course, one round to go in the Camp Greentree $5,000 CC tournament.
Yeah, and we will be right back with Jeff and Rhea for our last round of the day.
See you then.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net.
Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for flesh and blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com. Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you. The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25. Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net.
Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for flesh and blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for Flesh and Blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for Flesh and Blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from InkedGaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for Flesh and Blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from InkedGaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for Flesh and Blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. FABRary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on FABRary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for Flesh and Blood commentary, deck techs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. FABRary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on FABRary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for Flesh and Blood commentary, deck techs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Very Good Embroidery is Greentree Sports Cards' trusted source for custom apparel. Head on over to verygoodembroidery.com to see what we can do for you.
The Quiver Time Quiver isn't just the look good deck box, it's the get the squad together deck box. The always prepared with extra tokens deck box. The oops, I accidentally brought everyone a UPF deck to Commander Night. Guess we're playing Flesh and Blood deck box. Whatever you need in a deck box, Quiver Time has you covered. Head on over to quivertime.com and get free shipping on orders over $25.
Flesh and Blood players are in agreement. Fabrary is the best online resource for card search, deck building, and collection management. Whether you're looking for meta-analysis, spoiler reveals, or curated tournament reports, we have you covered. See why so many players are relying on Fabrary by heading over to fabrary.net. Psst, stay calm, and don't let anyone know you can see me. My name is Armani Pizza, and I'm risking everything to send you this telepathic message from the future. I've seen what the meta becomes, what armory decks are printed. I even know why they printed all that ash. And you can too, by subscribing to O3 Drop on YouTube for Flesh and Blood commentary, deck packs, and gameplay. If you want to prevent the timeline where the only matches are Zenmia's, then you need to subscribe to O3 Drop. That's all the time I have. Promise me you'll subscribe and stay pizza!
At Ink Gaming, we understand that style points are just as important as life points, which is why we've been producing top quality playmats for over a decade. Level up your game with our collection of premium pre-designed playmats, or make your mark with a custom playmat from inkgaming.com.
Hello, hello, and welcome to the final round of the Swiss portion of the Camp Greentree $5,000 Classic Constructed Flesh and Blood Tournament. I am Rhea, joined by Jeff, and we're here to guide you through the final matchup of the day. A very traditional or common matchup in the Mysteria meta.
It's true. I've never a Zen new matchup does feel kind of, I guess, predictable when you're looking at a win and in. So if I'm understanding correctly, Rhea, whoever wins this match should be locked for the top 8 tomorrow.
So whoever wins this is certainly locked for the top 8.
Okay.
The loser has the potential to bubble out.
Sure.
There's some ambiguity about who exactly is playing for 9th place spot right now.
Okay.
And so a lot on the line here as we go into this game. A lot of peace of mind that comes with knowing that you could be guaranteed to be locked in the top 8 for tomorrow if you can take down the win here.
If you remember coming to the Greentree ProQuest that you were at earlier this year, my friend and I both thought that we were playing the bubble match, but we were actually playing for 9th. So yeah, it was a very hard-fought match. I lost it. I was like, well, I'm happy you made it in, and then we were actually out of the bubble to begin with. These two players, however, are not any strangers to this level of competition. Zach, just a few weeks ago, won a ProQuest Plus at SCGCon Baltimore on new. I don't know if he's made any changes to the list since then. I haven't really had a chance to speak with him. And then, of course, Ethan is no stranger to the top tables. Most notably, he's the one that conceded when Briar was at 998, so we could just enjoy her for a little bit longer.
Thank you for your service, Ethan.
Yeah. Oh, I'll have to see if he has the artist proof on him. He has like a Mr. 998 one for his Briar token.
Incredible.
I couldn't believe it was him, and then he was able to prove it. So I was super happy to see. So I'm going to guess we're going to probably be seeing some pretty standard loadouts from both of these players. Not a lot of guesswork when it comes to the equipment pieces or the weapons. I'm really interested to see what tech pieces they're going to be playing against each other. There's a lot of options available in the generic slot that could give these players an edge over each other.
Yeah, I mean, so notably weakest link, just kind of one of the best generics to come out since Command and Conquer.
It
Let's be
is
real.
so good. I actually just got my playset on Monday, and then immediately opened one out of my prize packs. So I was, what are you? Not a bad.
What a shame to open a $40 bill.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
it's real bad to just pull money out of packs like that. So I managed to make it through.
So yes, weakest link. Of course, there's the option for things like this round's on me,
Sure.
which can, of course, give Zen a card. But when most of Zen's attacks are coming in for 1, and then you make all of those -1 power,
Sure.
not really helpful to have an extra card if it's worth 0.
Something to remember, because this has happened. Well, I've been on the other side of it. It is possible to have a Zen State and a This Rounds of Me in play at the same time, and it was a very bad high octane turn for me. My
I
gun
can't
did not
imagine,
do
yeah.
a whole lot. One interesting thing, I have seen Ethan earlier today on 2 Zephyr Needles. I do not feel like this is the matchup he plays that into, though.
Probably not. Zen, New very good at being a defensive controlling
Of
deck.
course.
Would love nothing more than to take away Zen's weapons and get some breathing room to later have a critical Bonds of Agony.
Of course. Another card I'm curious if we're going to see is Snag, which has been something I've been having a lot of fun playing with lately. It's easy to
You
transcend
monster.
off of. One of our judges actually made a post on Twitter as a joke that everybody should buy them, and I did when they were $1. So I'm happy I listened to them
Oh,
because
wow.
they shot up shortly after. Speaking of monster, you could also snag a Pummel, which is very fun, and Rouse the Ancients. That was one that I didn't realize until a couple days ago.
Yeah. Snag, definitely one of Zen's best ways to counteract New's attack
Absolutely.
reactions like Venomous Bite and Hiss.
Sure.
We'll wait to see, of course, if Ethan has packed that in terms of his own generic tech for the matchup today.
Of course, yeah. I think Weakest Link, as you mentioned, is probably something we're going to see from both sides of the table. Would make a lot of sense to kind of hedge that card into these matchups. And I do believe both players are just about getting ready. Or just about ready, I should say. Now, we can pretty much be guaranteed that we're going to see the Mask of Recurring Nightmares on the new player's side as well. Almost no reason to run or traverse the universe, I believe, with that character.
So that's true, but there also is kind of a tendency recently to have these kind of Gabe Share type mono traverse lists that
Okay.
have been popping up in New. We do
Interesting.
see kind of the traditional equipment suite here. Mass Recurring Nightmares,
Yeah,
a
no-
Rousing Wave, and Undertow Stilettos.
No surprises from either side of the table.
Scale Peeler, super important in this matchup. Being able to reduce Zen's ability to block, kind of shove all in on armor from 7, which importantly plays around a Rousing Wave, to 3. The entire suite blocks for 3 if under Scale Peeler, which does not cover a breakpoint like what New cares about mostly.
Very true. And then, of course, the traditional dagger on the other one just to make the blue attacks a little bit better.
Pitching a Levels of Enlightenment, starting off with, one of the most annoying weapons in the game.
Absolutely. I'm never a fan of giving a card to an assassin dagger, but something feels particularly bad. And there's Weakest Link, like we were talking about starting off. I don't know if I could see any targets in his hand. I think I
Looks
see 2
like-
Command and Conquers.
Looks like 2 Command and Conquers and a Mauling Chi in Ethan's hand, yes.
I'm going to bet that they are happy to block with both of those cards, exactly, and potentially keep a Command and Conquer for the next turn, depending on how their hand looks.
And just like that, turn 0, we've got the graveyard stocked up with some really spicy Bonds of Ancestry targets. Both the Chase the Tail and the Mauling Chi.
That's actually a pretty good position to be in on turn 1. I'm a recent Leviah convert, so trying to keep what's going on in the graveyard and your forefront is a vital part to playing these types of strategies.
So Ethan starting off with the first real turn of the game, just trying to be Command and Conquer, pitching 2 reds, both 100 wins and a Tiger Swipe. Kind of a slow start from both players here as they get warmed up in this game.
Absolutely. If my memory serves me, the last Zen game we had on stream was over by now. So at least we're getting to watch a little bit more of the action today.
I wouldn't say that just yet, because the last Zen game also started with a turn 1 Command and Conquer
That's
from
true.
Zen.
That is
so
very true.
we're not doomed to repeat history.
There was no turn 0 Sacred Art, though.
You're right,
So
you're right.
that certainly set things up.
You're right.
Definitely. I didn't. Did you catch what card went into the new player's arsenal? Because they're definitely putting a lot of thought in how they can protect it.
I didn't. I missed that. I saw a Codex of Frailty in hand, which could explain why blocking is kind of difficult here.
Sure. Looks
Yeah.
like, is that?
Potentially Bonds of Agony, Codex of Frailty, and an Arousing Wave. Kind of limited on attack reactions here, maybe?
Absolutely. Also makes you wonder what they're keeping in their arsenal that was worth that much to protect. I have a feeling we might see when the turn gets passed back over.
Not missing the
I
tunic
do- yep, I
trigger,
was just
starting
gonna
on a
say.
surgical. Okay.
And there were 2 codexes in hand, if I'm not mistaken then.
That's not ideal.
No.
Typically, you want to be able to play those to recycle your powerful cards.
Sure, and now we've seen one of the graveyard. One's going to be on the bottom of the deck. We have to wonder when we'll see one again.
Surgical, of course, a very good card in the matchup, but not when it's kind of by itself like this. It's pretty easy for Zen to put one card and an equipment in front of this.
Sure, you're going to have to guess. There's not a lot of room to...
Oh, Flit Flat from Arsenal.
Now, that is a ninja-specific defense reaction. I don't think I have seen one of those played in a little while. What a interesting card choice.
I certainly haven't either, but I'll tell you what. Flit Flat from Arsenal, very good to cover up exactly 4 on a surgical extraction.
That is potentially the most surprising thing I have seen today.
Starting on a red Descendant Gust Wave. Now, typically you don't see these played unless you have a pretty relevant combo follow-up.
Yeah, I'm just starting to wonder what Ethan has cooked up. I think I see...
Ooh, a Command and Conquer.
Okay.
So Descendant Gust Wave also really useful to get into the graveyard because it itself is also a Bonds of Ancestry target.
Sure.
Says combo on it. And we've seen lots of commanding and conquering first few turns of this game.
I think we've seen... Has that been all 3 copies we've seen within the first rounds of these games from Ethan? Because I believe there were 2 in the opening hand. Another Weakest Link.
And this Weakest Link is online because we just saw a Sacred Art Jade Tiger Domain in Ethan's hand.
This could be a very, very big swing turn potentially from New where they could just grab onto the tempo and not give it back. I don't
Is that a
think...
Bonds of Ancestry?
I think it is. I get a glimpse of what was in the arsenal, unfortunately. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Zen is not transcended yet, so covering up with armor might not be the most ideal situation. Actually, has any player transcended?
Neither player has transcended to my memory.
They've only been drawing Command and Conquerors and cards we weren't expecting.
So I'm looking at Bonds of Ancestry,
I think I saw Gust Wave.
Aspect Tiger Body. Unclear what exactly is in Ethan's hand. Of course, that Sacred Art. Bit of a weird composition here. And kind of awkward to block this Weakest Link and still have a real turn to crack back on. Of course, giving into that and saying block 6, I'll take an off turn is exactly what New wants to see in this matchup.
I was just going to say what we have not seen from New's side of the table are any of the big cards that can cause the hand disruption, the cards to be drawn from your deck as well. Yep, we're just going to get rid of the Sacred Art, it looks like.
So there is a card drawn by Zach when the Sacred Art is discarded, but unfortunately already have an arsenal. Kind of ends up not even being worth a ponder. Just you get to see one of the cards you draw for the next turn a bit early.
And I don't believe we saw any transcendent cards in that hand in particular, but getting that card just in the graveyard and not something you have to contend with for the rest of the game certainly is a sigh of relief.
So Tiger Taming Kakara here. We have a resource still floating.
Life total's still high.
Life total's still very high on both sides. If Ethan has another Descendant in Arsenal, we're looking at a full-on Bonds of Ancestry combo turn.
That's correct. And it...
Oh, and Enlightened Strike. Okay, setting up Bonds in Arsenal.
I'm going to guess it was Go Again was the mode chosen on this.
Could just be 7.
Sure.
This, of course, is a, kind of a slow vanilla damage turn from Ethan.
Absolutely.
Gives Zach some breathing room to say, all right, I'll block a little bit just because it's efficient, but I'm going to sculpt my hand into something that's really awkward for Zen to deal with next turn in terms of disruption. There's a Siren's Call. There's an Art of Desire Mine.
Those
are all things very good against Mystic Heroes.
All right, so the Tunic's going to go up to 3. Let's see what Zach is going to choose. And
I
think I
see
see a Transcend card in there.
It looks like a grain that tips the scales, perhaps.
Ooh, if we can get the Pummel Hat online, this could be the setup for New taking the advantage.
Leading off on the Beckoning Mistblade, of course, if it is blocked, you can Siren's Call it, punish Ethan by putting another card in front of this already defended dagger, drawing a new card. Or if it isn't blocked, you can potentially go quite wide on this turn.
There is a lot of potential. I definitely saw the Transcend card in hand. I think it's the grain that tips the scale.
having trouble seeing what the last card in Zach's hand is, but it must be some sort of blue attack. Otherwise, you wouldn't see the Art of Desire Mind.
Absolutely. Ethan gets the tiger in his hand, gives up the boots,
But now this has just become the perfect Siren's Call.
which I believe.
Oh, interesting. So we're playing another Art of Desire Mind. I'll take it back. This is an even better Siren's
Yeah.
Call target because you get to draw a second free card from the Art of Desire Mind effect.
And anytime you are showing a new player your hand, you know it's just going to end up badly.
Look at that snag.
I know.
You nailed it.
That is not the card you want the new player to know
So,
you have.
so that's ideal here, actually, because it can be added as a defending blue card, but it doesn't defend for anything, which means the Art of Desire Mind will still hit. It will still have that banished off the top of the deck effect.
Now, Snag is an instant, but I do not believe that Ethan currently has a window to play it until after the card choice has been revealed.
Correct,
Okay.
yes. He would have had to play Snag
Prior.
before Siren's Call started resolving.
But it looks like we're letting him keep the Snag?
Interesting. So Zach is worried. Oh, my goodness. Just drew a Persuasive Prognosis.
We're going to transcend. You know, from Zach's standpoint, knowing your opponent has the Snag is almost as good as getting rid of it, I suppose. You can play around or maybe try to bait them out of it so you can save some bigger threats for later.
The other thing it's doing is it's meaning that Ethan can't play 100 wins as an attack. Once you go into Ethan's turn, Snag is literally just a blue. It's not doing
Sure.
anything for
A
him.
blue that doesn't block.
Yeah. So getting to draw a card from the Art of Desire Mind, but most importantly, we ripped apart Zen's hand there with the Master Recurring Nightmares using that chi.
Mask of Recurring Nightmares, it's just, I have Icelander flashbacks. It's scary.
I've called that card Coronet Peak 2.0 for a while now, and I will continue to do that.
The choices hurt more. At least you could play around a Frostbite or something a little bit easier, but just
Yeah,
losing
you
the whole
can't
card.
hold Tunic up against
Right.
Master Recurring Nightmares in the same way you
have
could
to
Coronet.
get rid of something, and it looks like we are getting. I can't quite see with the glare.
It's a Descendant Gust Wave.
Okay.
2 floating. Of course, we know that there's a Bonds of Ancestry in Ethan's arsenal. The question is, what's going to be the follow-up here? What's the combo card that we're fetching? Mauling Chi makes a lot of sense. When you have 2 floating, just a good old 1 for 6 go again.
Again,
Sorry, not go again,
I-
but with the on-hit.
1 for 6 is still pretty good.
Not
and-
bad.
No, not bad at all. And these life totals, I'm shocked that both players are still in the 30s. New has been just kind of navigating around Zen's huge turns. Zen not being able to transcend yet this game, though, is definitely not ideal.
Definitely not ideal, exactly what New wants to see. I will say it's interesting, we only really have the 100 wins blue in Zen's Banished as far as cards that New can play with the hero ability.
Sure, of course, that's something else that we haven't even touched on with New. Some of those blocks can be used against you later on. I
Absolutely.
made the mistake once to not take levels of enlightenment out against her, and it will not happen again. I lost to my own cards.
Everyone learns that lesson once, yes.
Oh, it was a hard lesson learned.
So a bit of a shuffle as we're recycling copies of Mauling Chi.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you land on Chi versus Ki?
I'm definitely on Chi party.
Chi.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Ki's different. I had in college, ironically, which is 10 minutes away because I'm a Penn State graduate, I did have to take a Tai Chi class my last semester because I was half a gym credit short. And they did call that Ki, but I don't know if they're the same things.
I think it actually depends on if you're using the Chinese translation or Japanese
Sure.
translation. Regardless,
Yeah.
anyways, I also say Chi.
I'm Team Chi for sure.
Yeah.
I'm also Team and not Team Ampersand in Command and Conquer.
I'm playing Command and Conquer and Command and Conquer.
That's true.
6 copies in
you
my
can have
deck.
3 in each. I got to write that down. I need to remember that.
So ending on that Mauling Chi, have a card to Arsenal for the next turn, and just getting a really efficient damage turn out of this. Although, you only have 2 more Bonds of Ancestry left in the deck.
That's
Maybe
true.
not the ideal use here.
No, and without seeing those power cards, no Art of War, not even just stir the pot to transcend off of. We're going to need to draw those soon.
Don't worry, the Art of Wars are coming.
Okay, yeah, they'll come
You
2
don't
to
have
3
to
at a
worry.
time.
Seeing here the power of that Steel Peeler saying, Zen, you're going to have to give me real cards to block. And guess what? Ethan's entire hand blocks for 7 right
I was
now.
going to say I see at least one non-blocking card, so I don't know how great of a position it is. Potentially going to just eat the damage, try to throw something back, and hope that you could survive the turn cycle without any disruption.
So the question is, does Zach have meaningful disruption in hand to follow up this threat of...
We're coming in with another dagger.
okay,
Two
we got
floating,
go
I
again
believe.
on a blue.
2 in hand, 1 in arsenal. A lot can still happen this turn.
Is there a levels here? Yes, to capitalize on
Ooh.
2 blue cards in pitch.
Excellent. If he could possibly... If that was a transcend card, we would have seen potentially a 3rd pitch to levels.
There's a Siren's Call as well.
So it's safe to assume go again with draw a card.
Go
Well,
again.
it had go
No,
again already, so
yeah,
we
so
got
it's
the
plus 2.
power and draw a card.
Just
oh,
kind of getting all 3 modes there thanks to the beckoning misplayed.
wonderful. All right, definitely. Ethan's wondering what's coming after this because you know whatever it is, with that many resources and cards at your disposal, it's going to hurt.
And it's a persuasive
Ooh.
prognosis.
Now, Persuasive Prognosis, if memory serves me, this is the one that will allow some severe hand disruption with, I believe, some deck
Absolutely,
thinning as well, correct?
So on hit, Persuasive Prognosis banishes the top card of the deck,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look at your opponent's hand and banish a card of the same color.
Ooh, which blue might be the color that you'll be hoping for if this hits.
Mm-hmm. It also offers a little bit of life gain whenever it banishes action cards. Notably, Zen's entire deck is action cards
Sure.
outside of, the Transcend Instance or Art of War. So even if you miss, you're quite happy because you were getting rid of power cards.
Correct. And sometimes these games against them do come down to 1 health, so that life gain can be huge.
Going to punish the idea of no blocking with the Siren's Call, getting to pick which card Ethan has to defend with here. Ethan thinking about pathing this Persuasive Prognosis, but that would give it go again, and Zach has a card in hand still.
These are just... This is what's so hard to play against New with, is at least with Icelander, it was face value. You knew Channel Lake Frigid was there. You knew the Frostbites could be overcome. With New, you're constantly guessing, and it seems like every time you guess what's going to happen, whatever she does is worse.
So it is an interesting balance here, though. Yeah, it looks like... Oh, so Ethan has played the Path Well Traveled, but
Okay.
targeted an earlier attack on the combat chain.
Sure.
So
Clever
there's
use.
very clever use. So there's still no go again being given to Persuasive Prognosis.
That was actually a pretty clever play on Ethan's part then. You're not giving New any advantage by trying to target the attack that's currently going, and you still get the target out of your hand.
I guess that's also an important lesson when you are playing against Mystic Heroes.
Sure.
If you can close the chain, it is better to, because then they can't target earlier links
Absolutely.
with Path Well Traveled.
And I do believe Ethan was left with an Enlightened Strike and another card. I cannot recall what was in his arsenal, but potentially even sending 7 back here at this point with the life totals would still be a good play.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. New has been doing a great job of maintaining pressure, but Zen actually is still in the lead as far as
Absolutely.
life totals go.
And once you're getting into these 20 and below or blitz levels of life, those Zen pop-up turns don't even need to be like quite as scary as they normally would be to push you over the edge.
Yeah, every single one of them starts threatening lethal.
Mm-hmm.
So Enlightened Strike, Venomous Bite, that might be a second or third Enlightened Strike
Simple
in
out of
Zach's
arsenal.
hand. Trying to filter into some more disruptive effects, maybe?
Ooh, another.
That's exactly what you want to see.
And you're in you can feel pretty safe if you're in Zach's position right now, kind of knowing not much more, if anything, is coming off of this.
Yeah, there's an Art of War now in Ethan's hand. But guess what? If you can resolve a bonds,
They're
Art of War, very good target to banish out of Zen's deck with Bonds
potentially
of Agony.
the best target I could think of.
I think that's a reasonable claim, yeah. The best target.
So here we are. You know that this card is just not coming at face value. It's not going to be just one.
It's never just one.
No. And if it is, it's even scarier, because what are they saving for you next turn cycle?
So in Ethan's hand here, I see a Aspect of Tiger Body, an Ancestral Harmony, a Preserved Tradition, and an Art of War. That's not a lot of cards that block well.
No, you've listed, I believe, at least 2 cards that do not block anything. So maybe throwing Traverse without fetching the chi.
Wait, excuse me. That's not Art of War. That's Biting Breeze. I
couldn't
might
tell with the
be
glare.
off base here. Yeah, it might
It
be
is
Biting Breeze.
I think you're right. That does not look like Art of War.
All right. Well,
Well,
Re-
okay.
recontextualizes the turn a little bit.
Pretend they had it. That was a hypothetical. It's fine. Still, I do believe we've seen at least one non-block in that hand. Not an
Yes.
amazing position to be in.
No, and especially when you still have power cards in hand like Ancestral Harmony, which can be
Absolutely.
one of the best ways to enable those super top-of-the-line high roll turns as Zen.
Sure.
So we've hit 2 reactions here. There's the third, but
Mhm.
importantly, there's not a second Feigned Strike generated because there's not a blue in pitch.
Correct.
Bonds of Agony now 4 power, +1 from Feigned Strike, +3 from the Venomous Bite.
Sure. And just to help our viewers, since it looked like they were curious in the game as well, I believe sacrificing the gloves is an attack reaction as well that
Unto
counts
itself.
towards the count. Exactly.
Yes. So sacrificing a Rousing Wave is the first reaction.
Mhm.
The Feigned Strike it mates is the second reaction. Venomous Bite is
Exactly.
the third. Zach now has his choice. Which card do I banish here? And then I can go get up to 3 more copies. Or, sorry, up to 2 more copies.
Obviously, the Transcend card, not a great target. You know they're going to be a one of. I can't. What's the far one on the right hand side on Ethan?
That's an aspect of Tiger. I assume body, the
Okay.
red version, which I believe we've seen one of those already.
Sure, not the best targets.
It's a bit awkward here. If you take anything other than the Preserved Tradition, Ethan can reasonably transcend this turn.
Sure, and even you might only get 1 copy if you know there's not 2 more Preserved Traditions in deck, but just denying the Transcend, denying the 3 extra resources, and then in the future turn, the ability to actually just fetch it with your headpiece could still be crucial. If refresh my memory, have we seen a Transcend on Zen's side of the table yet? I do not believe we have.
I don't think
I don't think so at all.
So the play might be, denying Chi
Very
for
smart.
another turn cycle.
You're buying yourself some time. You're letting your opponent. Oh, now we're
So-
looking through the deck as
Yeah,
well.
so even though we all know that there aren't multiple copies of Preserved Tradition in Ethan's deck, presumably.
Correct. Oh, we would hope. Yes, we might have to.
We would hope.
We might have to pause for a judge if we find a
Yeah.
second.
So even though we know that there aren't multiple copies, Bonds of Agony still lets you go and try to look for
Oh,
more.
yeah.
And that's really useful when you're an assassin player to know sort of exactly what list is Ethan running. What threats do I need to and not need to play around?
Correct. And when the life totals at this level, I would say the new player Zach has been in control of the game in turn. Now, looks like we are having our head judge take a look at the deck for a moment here. I'm not quite sure what's happening. We do have a judge call that we're resolving at the moment. So again, let's just recap what we've seen here. Life totals, as you mentioned earlier, the players have been staying kind of even. It looked apparent for a while that the Zen player was kind of in the lead, but seeing how this game's played out, I feel like Nu's been potentially driving from the back seat the whole time.
Yes, I think that Nu is kind of playing this game exactly how Zach wants it to be played.
Yep.
The fact that Ethan still doesn't have Chi in deck is kind of crucial in terms of Ethan doesn't have access to his most powerful pop-off turn yet.
Exactly.
And life totals are getting low. Zen is much worse at blocking when he needs to at low life totals compared to Nu. And so if they both keep walking down at the same rates and they have to start playing small 2-card hands into each other, that's going to be a situation that favors Nu in the long
Absolutely.
term.
And as somebody who's played a few games of Prism, I believe,
A couple.
It's the same as your soul being starved by your opponent when you know that they are just every turn willing to sacrifice whatever they need to deny you the ability to just do what you need to do. It can be a very frustrating feeling.
Yeah.
Now, it looks like the judges are still deliberating. I'm not 100% sure what the issue is yet. However, it looks like it may be resolving. Okay, great. Well, we are just waiting at this point for the players as well. Rhea, if you had to guess.
I have guessed about many things in my life.
So, it looks like we're getting back to the game. We're shuffling.
Okay.
So is that was a question I actually had then about the card. After you look through the deck, do you shuffle it before handing it back to your opponent?
I will shuffle it before handing it back to my
Oh, I
opponent,
meant the
yeah.
effect of the card. I didn't know if. Of course, because you're.
Yes. So,
yeah,
so
it's
you
not-
don't just get to know the order of your opponent's deck. That would be
Ridiculous.
that. Would, how much would a card that does that have to cost?
I don't
Would you?
know.
How many resources would you pay for that? Would you pay 6 resources for that? Would you pay 9?
Probably. It's been a long weekend, so I forgot for a moment that the point was looking through the deck for other copies of cards,
Yes.
removing them, and then
Yes.
shuffling. I wouldn't potentially want any player. You've played against some of the greats. We have people like, well, he moved, but Charles Dunn was actually my first arena opponent ever.
Oh,
Pat Eschke,
really?
yeah, when he
Wow.
was playing Starvo, I didn't win, surprise. We have people like Pat Eschke at the Pittsburgh Meta as well, who can tell you every card in order that they've seen you pitch. So that would be a very strong ability. All right, now I have been informed we are back. The issue has been resolved. And I believe now we're handing the deck back, and this is probably the end of the new player's turn. I don't
Yes.
believe the go again had happened at all, correct?
No, it
Okay.
has not. So potentially a very important cut there,
Mm-hmm.
because there's an Ancestral Harmony here, and there's not a lot of things to pitch for in this hand. Gonna lead on the Biting Breeze.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we're just at this point, if you're Ethan, you're just trying to get damage across. If it's a big pop-off turn, if it's just doing something like sending E-Strike for 7, you just want to whittle those life totals down. However, if you're Ethan too, your next hand has the potential to draw a lot of power cards because we simply just have not seen the maximum of them yet.
Oh, blocking with Undertow Stilettos on the 1 power. So obviously there is an on-hit here
Okay.
from the Biting Breeze to generate a Tiger, which would get buffed by the Tiger Stripes Shuko.
Of course.
So it's kind of like you're getting 2 value out of this Undertow Stilettos.
It's
but-
Stonewall Gauntlets for your feet.
It is Stonewall Gauntlets for
Yeah.
feet. But I'm going to suspect, seeing a Leave No Witness in Zach's hand, and I think also a Persuasive Prognosis, it might just be showtime with Undertow Stilettos, and that's why they're being blocked with here.
Absolutely. I did have it's been a few weeks, but I was speaking to Zach before the ProQuest on Sunday started in Baltimore, and he was pretty much describing his plan against Zen players as exactly this. It's how he was able to navigate through to the win on the first day as well. The importance of just denying those chi cards from your opponent, denying all the power pieces you can take away from them is just so valuable, especially as the games drag on.
So a little bit of damage from that Tiger Swipe, which ends up being for 3. It does get the Shuko buff, although it didn't combo with a Tiger. And then just a little bit of confusion about the deck being passed back a
Sure.
different way than you would expect. But an Art of War in hand. Okay, so if there ever is a turn where Zach needs disruption, it is this turn.
now. And what are we looking at in his hand?
Oh my goodness, what a hand though. Persuasive Prognosis, Leave No Witnesses, Surgical Extraction, and a blue.
I would say we have found some disruption.
I
and
think-
even that's still without knowing what's in that arsenal.
Yeah, so I don't think Tunic is up here, which could be kind of disastrous. And Ethan still doesn't have Chi Index, so he doesn't really want to block with Traverse.
No, that is not something you want to be wasting. That could be exactly what you need.
But if... Oh, and it hits. So there's Go Again on Surgical into Leave No Witnesses. Zach simultaneously can threaten Ethan's hand and arsenal this turn.
This is not the position you want to be in when you've drawn your first Art of War of the game.
Oh, interesting. So going with Enlightened Strike bottoming the Surgical, so doing Persuasive Prognosis into Leave No Witnesses instead, still threatening to disrupt the hand, but getting to save a resource on doing it.
And a surprisingly wide turn from new. Sometimes you're not
Absolutely.
expecting that many links. Here we go.
So Persuasive Prognosis to Go Again, on hit, banish top card, then look at the hand and banish a card.
That's not what
And
you-
then this has Go Again. There's going to be a Leave No Witness to follow it up afterwards.
Am I being converted over to an assassin player? I'm
We'll
just starting
get
to
you
like
eventually.
what I'm seeing.
They got me about 2 weeks ago. I'm wearing the new shirt today. They'll get you eventually.
All right. And now Leave No Witness. Going to be threatening even more of those cards. And I think that card's been sitting in Ethan's arsenal for a few turns, if I'm not mistaken.
It
I've at this
has.
point forgotten what it is, but it's been good enough to keep for this long.
Yeah. And so actually the Persuasive Prognosis being blocked by the Tiger Stripe Shuko there means that you can't block 4 with equipment on Leave No Witnesses unless you want to get actual no value from your Traverse the Universe, because there's no chi in Ethan's deck.
If the card in your arsenal is worth protecting, I guess that would be a little bit of value, but absolutely the worst thing I want to do as somebody that plays a Mystic Hero is just waste that headpiece.
So I see a Flick Flack in Ethan's hand that can cleanly cover 4 here.
Absolutely. I think still leave him the ability to do a little bit next turn, but again, being down at 12 health on turn, I've lost track without any chi in your deck is just a masterful play on Zach's side of the table.
Right, yes. New kind of commanding this game in exactly the way that an assassin wants. It is kind of ironic as the game goes farther on, Steel Peeler going to be less and less useful. With only 2 equipment left, you're looking at reducing its efficiency in blocking by half, from 4 down to 2. But, of course, still not a lot of reason to block with the equipment. There's no chi in that. Flick Flack going to cleanly cover, leave no witnesses. Ethan going to have to admit, all right, the Art of War pop-off turn isn't this turn. I'll have to play it a little bit patiently. But we'll get there eventually.
2 Flick Flacks this game, though, and just exactly when you need them, has been super, super beneficial from Ethan's side of the table. Now, I wonder if we're going to try to do something like get that card out of the arsenal so we can get the Art of War in there, even though it won't quite feel safe when you're sitting across the table from New.
Starting off on a red 100 wins, it's just, you know, a better head jab. I have a saying, as we go into Rosetta spoiler season, every good card is at least head jab. And that's nothing exemplifies that more than red 100 wins. It's head jab with a little bit more text. Into, guess what? Another head jab. Aspect of Tiger Body. 0 for 3 go
With
again.
just different
Make a
words.
Tiger.
You know, your thought of playing like 6 Command and Conquers, you're just playing a full deck of head jabs.
Every card is at least a head jab.
It's the reverse zap. We're warrior. But the last zaps we have got have been pretty fun.
So, 6 damage presented so far. Zach saying, sure, my hand is way better at disrupting than it is blocking for 3 a couple of times.
I do... Oh, no, I thought we were about to transcend, but I think we were just...
Pitching to Kakara.
Exactly.
And then, I wonder what that last card in hand is. What could be going in that arsenal?
The card that he hopefully will be able to make it 1 turn cycle to see.
Yeah, I mean, Zach is at 6. If he can't rip up Ethan's hand pretty well this turn, probably just going to have to be blocking for the rest of the game, staring down lethal.
And if I'm Ethan at this point, I'm just going to throw away the Traverse to stay alive and keep it. Did he draw a second Art of War?
He might have almost something you don't want to see at this point in the game just because it doesn't block. So leading on the Scale Peeler, I know what you were just saying about throw the Traverse just because it block. Scale Peeler kind of doing its best to deny that here, actually.
Right.
Saying no blocks, so not going to get a lot of equipment value this turn, just 2 block on equipment available.
Another poke with the dagger. Of course, this one can make whatever comes out. We're just
but
going
the
to get rid of
Traverse
it.
still blocking for 1.
You know, at this point, that would be a good use of it. You could potentially deny, and again,
Leave no
leave
witness.
no witness.
2 floating, threatening that Art of War. Oh. Oh, okay, so Ethan, just, you know, let's triple check that there isn't any chi in my deck that I can go get. Of
Absolutely,
course,
and then just take the ability, you shuffle it up a bit, maybe you'll get what you need right on top.
Yeah. Very easy after these, you know, long rounds. This is the 6th round of,
absolutely.
high-level classic constructed play. The games can kind of blur together. It's kind of easy to forget, have I transcended this game? Was that last round? Always better safe than sorry to double check that you don't have a chi in there to fetch.
And honestly, too, if you're having the ability to just shuffle your deck, if you haven't been seeing those power cards yet, it could be game-changing in situations like this.
It could.
Also, too, denying that chi, just something to think about. There's no opportunity for a Zen state then.
That's true.
Which could be potentially very helpful as this game grinds on.
So leave no witnesses here. I can't help but notice that there's 2 resources floating, and Zach still has a card in hand. I wonder if there's going to be a Stilettos follow-up here.
Potentially. We can still... I unfortunately don't remember what that card in hand is. You have mentioned it's been a long day. We've been stuck in the woods since Thursday.
Is that another leave no witness?
I think it was.
Is that a second leave no witness?
Oh.
Is this a defensive Art of War? Pitching Art of War?
That is absolutely what we've seen. And again, exactly the situation you described. I would much rather have 1 Art of War and a card that could block.
Well, I think we're at 0 Art of War now. pitching one to play one.
I believe you're correct. We saw the other one might be in the graveyard, if memory serves me.
And then Mauling Chi is the banish off the top that actually does make you silver for new. Kind of easy to forget about silver when you don't have any assassin buyback equipment.
Absolutely. Yeah, new doesn't really run the traditional suite that you would expect to see from like an Auzri or Arachne player.
But I'll tell you how they get really useful in these late game scenarios. They're just pitch outlets for levels of enlightenment to get
Absolutely.
blues in your pitch zone.
Oh, yeah, that is a really, really good point. You can just pitch into it, and it would be another one there waiting for you.
So what's the play from Ethan here? It's a 4-card hand. Actually has quite a few powerful cards here. Descendant, Chase the Tail, and Tiger Swipe.
And getting that Chi in your hand, I would even potentially consider saving that for his end state. It will
Potentially,
likely be
yeah.
used for a combo to try to close the game out.
I think that we have the ability to go pretty wide here. Rising Sun
think
Setting
you're correct.
Moon's going to transcend, make a resource from the 12-petal cassette,
Absolutely.
turn into Chi, create a Tiger.
And you're suddenly ahead 4 resources.
You can go get an aspect of Tiger Body with this Zen activation.
We are about to see which they are choosing.
Oh, Bonds of even better.
And just like that, I think Zach might have to be hoping he has some defensive options in his hand that he is willing to get rid of.
So Bonds going to get an aspect of Tiger Body just in the nick of time. I think Ethan has found exactly the pop-off turn that he needs.
I think you're right. There are
Even without
are we at
Art of
2
War.
tigers?
We're at 2. Well,
Okay.
so 1 Tiger came from the Zen ability.
Sure.
The second Tiger will be made by the aspect of Tiger Body
Okay.
because it's combos with the prior red Bonds of Ancestry.
And I believe we can still buff it with the staff as well, which has not been used yet this turn.
It has not. If we have the resources available, yes. Of course, one of those resources is going to be spent on Chase the Tail. Costs 1, but we got refunded when we transcended with the 12-petal cassette.
Such a powerful ability to put on that chess piece,
It
just
truly
generating those free
is.
resources. Yet another reason why denying the transcending has been so vital this game.
Absolutely.
We're putting a lot of thought into how we want to block this out.
Yes, so Zach, at 5 life,
I
we're
would-
looking at 1 from the Descendant, 4 from the Bonds, 4 from the Chase the Tail, 3 from the Aspect of Tiger Body.
With 1 charge on the Tunic, potentially good to block with. I don't know if we're going to get full value out of it with life totals where they are in this game.
I don't know that Zach is going to be able to hold more than 1 card this hand now that I'm just looking at, how much damage is going to be presented.
And New is not the character that you want to have a 1-card hand going into these types of life totals with.
There are outs, of course.
Yes.
Leave No Witness, a great 1-card hand historically.
We might be coming up on that last Codex potentially, too. We saw
is
the
true.
2 earlier in the game. The 3rd one is definitely lurking in the deck.
But there's a Rising Sun Setting Moon in Zach's hand. He can't full block even if he wants to this
That's
turn.
true, and you can't do the cute new stuff like activate the hat as a reaction or anything. You have to do those things on your own turn, so that card is a huge liability at this point in the game.
Blocking 3 on Bonds of Ancestry, you're down to 4 life.
Okay. Now we, of course, are going to see what comes next.
So Aspect of Tiger combos with the prior red card, makes that critical second Tiger so that the Chase the Tail in the hand can both combo with the Tiger and buff the next Tiger.
And by the time we're getting down to where you're playing the Tigers, even if they're coming in for 1, could be potentially game-ending depending on your position.
Absolutely, yeah. That's one of the worst feelings in the game is to have to start blocking with real cards on 1-power ephemeral
Oh.
tokens.
Blocking with Command and Conquer would have been potentially great to use to get around what might be a 3rd Flick-Flack waiting.
Yeah. So Tiger for 0, but importantly, that enables the combo with Chase the Tail.
Absolutely. So now Chase the Tail should be coming in for... I'm trying to learn my ninja cards. It'll be 4, and then it'll buff the next Tiger by 3.
You nailed it.
I'm learning.
Incredibly potent draft bomb, by the way.
Oh, yes.
1 for 7 go again. Historically, pretty good flesh and blood card.
Yeah, without needing a cool disco stick like Prism have to give it the go again, yeah, you definitely want those types of numbers.
Oh yeah, it is kind of just a War Tune Herald when you think about it.
Every card I evaluated this game is it a Mirage
Is it-
Metamorph
is
or
it
a
a
War Tune
Mirage
Herald?
Metamorph?
Yep.
Blocking more with Bonds of Attraction, Kind of a filler blue block 3 from new.
And
Very
now
reasonable to block with.
I think we're down to that no block card in hand.
And this Tiger is for 3. Can't help but notice that Zach's life total is 3. Some equipment is going to have to give here.
Now, my degree is in English, but you are correct. That is what we call in this game lethal damage.
Yes, like by definition.
A term coined only in Flesh and Blood. Never existed in any game
Correct.
prior. Yes.
Yes.
And now on the mask, is the mask a 2-block?
Mask is Blade Break 2.
Blade
yes.
Break 2. So we could potentially cover this with Tunic and Mask. 2 cards you definitely don't want to give up, though. Or are we going to get daring and just go to 2 and see what's next?
Or go to 1. Or go to 1. Oh my goodness. So this is interesting.
Now, is the
Zen
time-
ending without an arsenal, and if I remember correctly, Zach's arsenal is leave no witnesses, so not actually threatening any meaningful disruption.
Correct. So we are. I'm still with the life totals where they are, though. It's not something you necessarily want to get hit by. However, 1 card in hand, 1 in arsenal. You know, there's not going to be too much of a follow up.
Chase the Tail, Enlightened Strike, as
I think it was the.
Form Tiger,
Yep.
and is that the 3rd Art of War?
It could
I
be.
think it's the 3rd
flashing
Art of
by. That
War.
is pretty much the hand you would like to see if you're on Ethan's side of the table right now.
Zach,
Just trying to
thinking
figure out
about
what's
what's
left.
in his own graveyard, might be thinking about cracking the silver to draw into something better. Oh, it's a Bonds of Agony. Excuse me, I got the arsenal wrong, and it changes everything.
I was going to say, you kind of wish it was a leave no witness at this point in the game, especially with that hand you're holding. Now, again, not really in a position where it could get pumped very potentially high, but still not something you want to let hit you.
Right, so there's no on hits unless 3 reactions happen here.
Correct.
But
The life
What-
gain, right? Or
you're
do
thinking
the
of
thing.
Persuasive
I
Prognosis.
am, yes.
But what this does enable is you can transcend with the Rising Sun, Setting Moon in hand and activate Mask and force Zen to interact with you a little bit, even if you can't reach all 3 reactions.
As you can tell, when I play an assassin, I just trust that they're telling me the truth.
This is good to know and will be used against you in the future.
Oh, we've had armories in Lancaster where I play 3 in a row. We love new there. That probably is. I should probably know more of the cards off the top of my head if that's the case.
Oh, Ethan really thinking about what are the outs here? What exactly can Zach represent in terms of are triple reactions even possible?
I don't see how they could be. We have no cards in hand, 1 card in arsenal. I just don't see. I'd feel pretty comfortable taking 1 here.
I do think that
We may have
will
a shredder
probably
or
end up
something,
being
of
the
course.
play.
Oh,
Yeah. So Rising Sun, Setting Moon is going to draw a
Oh.
card, immediately bottom it, and then transcend into Chi.
and I believe
So Chi can be pitched to the Master Recurring Nightmares.
exactly, which is
Forces
not what
Ethan
you
to
want.
give up a card.
Ooh, okay. That was the E-Strike. I don't know if that's an Art of War like we thought.
I think it is. This turn might end up just being 7 from Ethan. Just
Which
E-Strike
is
for 7, Arsenal
fine.
card. Absolutely.
And depending on what new draws, that 7 might not be very doable.
Yes, a new does, contrary to most assassins, have to play some cards that honestly just don't block. Is that a double, just a Nick, and an homage to ancestors?
I do
Oh,
have Cor-
Ethan-
Yes, we're going straight ahead, blocking with that headpiece.
Oh, this is not looking good.
Nope.
Ethan getting to go 2 into 7, going to take all 3 real cards from Zach and strand him with just an homage to ancestors, I think, is the only card in hand.
Absolutely not the position you want to be in. Poking with the dagger with no follow-up is just not what's going to close this game out for you.
Yeah. And importantly, we are at 0 armor left for Zach. Every piece of damage that Ethan presents is going to mandate a card from hand.
Exactly, and at 1 health, oh, those breakpoints get really hard to manage.
There is, of course, always a chance that Zen kind of bricks and has
Sure.
a turn of like 2 into 1 pass. Especially, you know,
No
we've
surprise
seen
covering
some.
it.
Yeah, we've seen some Bonds of Ancestry thin out the red threats in the deck.
And we still haven't seen that last codex.
I see a snag and a drop in the ocean in Ethan's hand, along with 2 Ancestral Harmonies.
Those are
This
pretty much
actually
the
is a-
cards I would want to be seeing.
Well, but this actually is a hand from Ethan that doesn't deal any damage.
That is true, actually. You're just going off of the weapon, and there's the Codex from New. Definitely going to be grabbing.
It's got to be Leave No Witnesses.
What else would you take? It's a 1 for 4. Could potentially mess with some things going on the top of the deck. Nothing in the arsenal to target. There it is.
I mean, if you wanted Zen to draw a brick hand, this kind of is the brick hand.
Yeah,
What do you
definitely want to do more than just swing your weapon once.
I mean, I don't know what you get here except from Enlightened Strike. You'd have to really gamble to hit combo cards off the top with the Ancestral Harmony, because if they whiff, it's disastrous.
Oh, yes. And I do believe the Ponder token on the table as well can be kind of a huge advantage for New here as well.
Oh,
You
of
could
course.
just throw a non-blocking card away and try to survive another turn.
Absolutely. Although Ethan, of course, Codex of Frailty, technically a double-sided card, Ethan gets to pick something as well here.
That's true. And with Zen, that could lead into combo, into Tigers, and not the situation you want to find yourself in.
Yeah. Really a dilemma, though, because Ethan will have to discard a card, and really none of the cards in hand are very desirable.
No, yeah, that snag could literally turn the tide of the game if you could sit that in your arsenal and have it waiting.
Looks like a Descendant Gust Wave is going to be the pick for
Okay.
Arsenal. So Descendant transcending with the drop in the ocean from hand can go get a Bonds. This turn might be actually very nasty because Zach unintentionally has given Ethan the glue to enable this kind of combo transcend.
That's the double-edged sword with these cards like Phantasmaclasm or Codex of Frailty. When you're down to the wire, you could actually hand your opponent the winning
Exactly
cards
what
for
they
the game.
need, yeah. Looks like just triple checking that Descendant is actually the best get for Ethan. Pivotal moment in this game, down to the wire, both in terms of life totals and time. There is a 4-minute extension on this
Correct.
game
So
from
they
the
have-
earlier judge call.
We
So
have about
we're
8 minutes left.
we're not in the final moments here.
So
but
Snag is the card that we decided to get rid of. Honestly, also as much of a liability at this point in the game. It doesn't block. They might not be able to keep the card economy to have a handful of reactions where it would be fully impactful at 1 health. So I could see that being the correct choice here.
12 Petal Cassette finally being blocked with
No Zen
no
state.
equipment for Ethan, no Zen state.
I was hoping.
I think we all are on some level. And this is I believe this is a Descendant Gust Wave for 0.
I
After the
believe
Frailty.
you are correct with the Frailty token. Also not a good feeling.
Oh, but blocking? Maybe it's a red.
I would assume it's definitely. Oh,
Oh, it's for no. I think they are now realizing it's for 0.
I do believe you are correct. So, resolution of that is just going to be even transcending and getting exactly what you're looking for. You could have the tiger and then the staff.
So this turn started with an attack for -1,
Okay.
and it's going to turn into a Bonds of Ancestry combo turn for 4
There's been a lot of surprising turns this game.
into Mauling Chi, Tiger Swipe. Tiger Swipe will do it.
And now on the other side of the table, I don't think I see any non-blocks on.
Oh, there's a path well
News.
traveled.
Oh, there is a path well traveled. Oh no.
Oh no, indeed.
And with 1 health, even those little pokes from the baby kitty tigers are just going to be enough to push you over the edge to loss.
I mean, yeah, unless Zach found a sink below on the Ponder, this is going to be game right here. Bonds of Ancestry 4 power, going to require 2 cards to block.
Exactly.
That Tiger Swipe comboing with the Tiger we just got from Zen's hero ability, going to take 2 cards to block unless you have a defense reaction for 4.
We're just going to wait on the edge of our seats with everybody else to see what came off of that ponder.
I am riveted. Oh, but that's showing the hand, showing you I can't block 8, and that's going to be the game. Congratulations, Ethan, locking a top 8 spot for tomorrow.
Absolutely. Audience, Rhea handpicked this game. She said that out of all of the 4-1 games that could potentially make it in, this was going to be the most interesting, and I have to agree.
That certainly was lots of back and forth there. Zen off to an early start. New kind of commanded the middle of the game, but once that Ardivore hit the field, even defensively, even without resolving it in an offensive manner, Ethan on Zen managing to lock it up. What
Great play
what a
from
story
both
within that
players,
game.
though. Like
Yes.
this was just masterful to watch. Zach's control of that early game, just denying those cards that you need. Both players, the opening, 2 Command and Conquerors, 2 Tomes, just not what you want to see in these. Again, just some more sportsmanship from our competitors. Well, Rhea, that kind of is it for day 1 of Camp Greentree. We have some stuff we're doing this evening. We have our Alpha tournament, or Alpha Pack Poker tournament. We have some side events that are going on. We may be having an Arcane Draft First Edition, or Arcane Rising First Edition draft.
Exciting.
Lots to do. And audience, we are going to be back tomorrow with the top 8, and then we're going to be back with coverage of our Blitz 2K that's going on out here in Camp Greentree as well. So on behalf of all of us, on behalf of the staff, the Realm Games, all of our sponsors, Inked Gaming, O3 Drop, Greentree Sports Cards, Very Good Embroidery, my company, Quiver and Fabrary, on O3 Drop Podcast, On Hit Effect, all of everybody that went into making this wonderful. Thank you for joining us on day 1. We look forward to bringing you all the coverage tomorrow.
See. On Greentree Sports Cards Twitter page, we will have the top 8 breakdown for you momentarily once the stream ends. We just need to make sure that we have all the results in for that.
Yep, we'll post our meta report on there as well. It has some surprises on it as well.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.